Oh, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to That Bourbon Dude Live. Tonight we have a special guest. He's coming in from across the pond here, now residing in Colorado. I'd like to introduce you to Patrick from the Whiskey Cove. Let's go ahead and bring him in.
Hey, how are we doing, my man?
Doing well. How are you, buddy?
As a famous person on the TV would say, better than I deserve, more than likely. Thanks for having me on what is your first live stream, right?
Yes, first live stream.
Yeah. So anything that can happen probably will happen tonight, but so far, smooth sailing, I have to say.
Yeah, well, I did a little preparing for this one. It took me a little bit. I've had some technical difficulties this week. Broke a laptop, I had to switch out, so it's been a process.
Yeah, it's this kind of life happens, and this kind of throws you for a loop when you need it to be the most behaved, I guess, right?
Right.
I had some incredible smelling whiskey in front of me here, Charles. I'm excited by tonight.
Well, I've been excited too. I've been having your stuff sitting around looking at me in the face for a while. I left on vacation, put them on the shelf, and then I had to sit there and wait for 2.5 weeks to get back so I'd know if they're going to be any good or not.
Hey, there you go, man. That's what it's all about. So what are we going to be doing tonight?
Well, you and Nathan had a really awesome style of scoring. We can follow up with that if you want to let everybody know what the rules are.
Yeah, so essentially what we did was that I sent Charles 4 samples that were constrained to some price categories. We had $25 or less dollars. We had $50 or less for the second sample. For the third sample was $75 or less. And then the last one was like 100 or whatever you kind of wanted to do. That was kind of in that ballpark there. So that's what we have. And then we're also going to blind them. And then we're going to put them in order to see how wrong we can be.
I'm always wrong.
Does money equal good whiskey, Charles? I guess we'll find out, right? And
right.
The video I did with Nathan, actually, I ended up picking the $100 bottle as the $25 bottle. But, we won't talk about that much.
I'm sure I'll do the same thing. It's just whiskey. Everybody's palate's different, and so this $10 whiskey might be worth $100 in my opinion.
I'm just trying to make sure everything's all streaming here and all pretty good. Let's have a little look here. Boom. So the samples I have in front of me, I believe, are the ones that you sent me.
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm going to share your link, I think, because I think that's going to probably work best. I'll just post that on my YouTube channel. I think that'll be the better way to do it here. So like, yeah. Okay, so now that's sorted. We get into tasting some whiskey. Have you been pre-gaming? Have you had anything yet?
Oh yeah, I've been pre-gaming for a while. I had some Michter's. I had some Woodford Double Oak. I had a little bit of 1792. No, I'm sorry, not that 1792. Evan Williams 1783. The 90 proof. Trying to work my palate up, trying to get my senses together.
You've been knocking out a few. I think you've got a good head start on me. I just finished work about an hour ago, so I've been kind of looking forward to this all day. So I have the samples that you sent me. I think we should just dive into it. I think there's no better way to do it. How would you like me to start? Would you like me to start A? Surely, all right. There's no particular order, right? So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you want to start at A and we can go the other direction? That'd be perfect.
Yeah. You're gonna have to keep some notes for my scoring, I think, boss. So how we are going to score this is as follows. And I might even have got rid of my notes actually from last time. So we are going to do proof or ABV. Do you use proof or do you use ABV?
Yeah, proof ABV. I don't care either one. Okay. Proof's probably easier for the viewers.
Yeah, if we do ABV. Our ABV guess has to be within 4.9% ABV.
Okay.
I feel like 5. If you have 5, it's a little easier to catch that, because if you say like 40% ABV and it's actually 45, it's quite easy to catch that. So 4.9% ABV gets you 10 points. guessing the distillery, which is incredibly difficult, will also get you 10 points as well. Is any of these whiskeys finished, Charles?
There is one that is double oaked, but
Okay.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So we'll say if we can guess the one that is finished, so we actually sent you two that are finished.
Oh,
Uh, but if we can guess that those ones, then also 10 points. So there's 30 points on offer to each one. So we have distillery, we have the ABV, and then if it's finished, if you guessed it, if it's finished, you get the 10 points. Okay. We'll only
okay.
let you get one of those 10 points, Charles, because if you guess two, then it wouldn't make sense because you'd have both of them. And then
I'll
also
take the
price.
advantage. You're the pro over here.
Well, I don't know about that, but we'll do the price as well. So if you can guess the price category, like is it 25 or less, 50 or less, that's also 10 points. So 40 points potentially on offer for each, which isn't bad.
Okay.
Well, are you drinking with me?
Yeah, I got it set up here. I'm sure by the end of this I'll be lit because I've got like 1.5 ounces times 8 over here.
That's what it's all about. Recognize anybody in the channel here? We got Brothers Barrel. Hey, what's going on, my man?
Yeah,
Amish 2009. What's everybody drinking? What's everybody got in their glasses? It is a Monday after all, so it is technically a school night. But I have tomorrow off, which is quite
yeah.
fortunate. I get Tuesdays off a lot.
Darren, he's one of my local guys here. I think he's in Massachusetts this week doing some work.
Oh,
How you doing, buddy? Aaron's from our local club. Kyle, hey Kyle, how you doing? Jason, what's up, everybody?
1792 single barrel, nice, very good whiskey. That
Oh yes.
this first one is very woody. Yeah, like really like a lot of like aged wood. It's like a wood, like an old wood barrel that someone has like forgot about, and then kind of found again.
Mm-hmm.
It has a like dusty rick house type note on this. I gotta stop leaning back and forward. That pisses a lot of people off.
No, you're good. Absolutely, you can do anything you need to do to be comfortable. You stand
Yeah,
up, I sit down.
I get like a little eucalyptus in this actually. It's almost a little minty. I don't know why, like maybe a little sappy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mint is definitely there, but you'll be surprised when you find out what this is.
Yeah. So most of the time, I get a lot of my notes from my nose. I'm able to get a lot of the whiskeys through my nose because my palate's not the greatest. I can nose really well.
Now, do you want to reveal the bottle after we make our guess, or do you want to wait to the very end and reveal each one together?
So it would only make sense to do it at the end because we're going to be putting them in an order.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, which was what I didn't do with Nathan. We just completely forgot about that, which is funny. Okay. Yeah. Going for a taste check. What's the class A? Okay. I think I'm feeling the ABV on this. I think I know ballpark of what I'm thinking. I might have to hedge a little bit.
Okay.
But I'm okay with that. I have a little burn actually at the back end there. A little bit of Kentucky hug, but that is my first sip of whiskey today. So it's pretty hard to tell at that point. So I always try to think maybe like 3 or 4 high ABV points higher if it's my first drink. So I'm gonna have to rein it in a little bit. Let's do this. And then I do not think this is finished, Charles, if I'm completely honest. So I'm gonna say this is not finished.
You would be correct. Oh, that's sad, Sam. Just the water, that's no good.
Let's have some bacon spices there. A lot of vanilla on the palate. And then a little bit of that wood returns as well. I'm not getting as much age on the palate as I was getting on the nose in this first one, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's just not coming through. Okay, so ABV, I'm going to go 46% ABV. Like I said, I'm hedging a little bit. I don't think it's a 48 proof, and it might be 50% ABV, so that's why I'm going 46 because that kind of keeps me in that ballpark area.
That's going to get you some points right there. Would you like to know how close you were?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, sure. What was it?
That's 43% ABV.
Oh, I think I might know what this bottle is.
Mm.
43% ABV. Isn't that an Evan Williams? Isn't that Evan Williams that's 43% ABV? Is that an Evan Williams that's 43% ABV? No,
I think there is one.
it's the single barrel, right? I think it's that one. I've had the single barrel, and that comes off a little bit more nuttier than this. So I'm wondering if I can pick up any of that Evan Williams nuttiness or Heaven Hill nuttiness. Kind of have to go. I think I might have to go with my gut on this one. That kind of walks strong point.
Okay.
Distillery is obviously going to be the most difficult one, right?
Right.
I'm going to go with. I'm going to do that. I'm going to say Heaven Hill Distillery. I'm thinking it's Evan Williams.
Okay. Do you want me to reveal that you were correct or incorrect in this, and then we'll reveal the bottles at the end? Is that how we're doing this? Okay.
I think if we do it that way, that'll keep the mystique towards the end, then, right?
Okay. Well, Heaven Hill was correct.
You didn't even send me the answers, look, so I can't even be cheating. And Nathan, if you're watching this, see, this isn't last time wasn't by chance.
So are you going to start off the same way and get everything correct on the first one, and then just bomb on the way out?
You gotta leave the people, with a little bit of fun at the end, right? We are in the entertainment industry at the end, and now we're doing price, right?
Yes, price.
I did think this was Evan Williams, and the 43% ABV. That could be regular. Regular Irish Craig. I think it's 46, isn't it? Well, yeah, and this doesn't taste like. It doesn't taste like that. So I'm going to say Evan Williams 1783. Oh, it's a single barrel. How much is that? I don't know how much that is. I don't think it's $25. I think it's like right around 25 to $30. I'm going to say this is $50 or less. You don't. Oh, don't. I just write that down on a piece of paper if I'm correct or not. Okay, so we have that. Because otherwise, I won't be able to put that in an order. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So I don't. Sounds like it might have been a good start there, Charles. We'll have to go from there. I have a tendency of butchering the more expensive bottles. So, we may or may not have done that there, but we'll see. Here to reset the palate. Yeah.
That's probably the same for me, because there's so many bottles that are inexpensive under the $50 category that I find to be more appropriate for my specific palate. Now, I do really enjoy some higher proof ones, and I'm a big fan of Stag. It's kind of hard not to be.
Yeah, Stag Junior has a lot more bolder flavors. Like, when you taste that, you know exactly what you're getting with it. Giving the palate just a little bit of time here, but I'm thinking I'm going into the second glass here just while I'm nosing it. Here we go. Pancake syrup right now. That's what this is, butterscotch. A lot more syrupy. Maybe a touch of bubble gum there as well. I recognize that note from a whiskey.
I think this one's going to be pretty hard for you. I don't think I've had anyone guess this one correct that I've sampled it out to.
Okay. So maybe there's a little clue in that. Maybe it's a little bit more niche, is what you're saying. A little bit more. I'm not really getting much. I wouldn't say crafty necessarily, which is a good thing, because if it is a craft, craft distilleries, I feel like have a pretty hard time rounding out some of that newer yeast bready, fresh dough notes from a lot of whiskey.
Right.
I'm not really getting that from this.
I've got everything written down for proof points, and we're doing ABV, so I'm going to be looking off on the floor.
Oh, there you go. You're good. Definitely a little bit more proof for this. A lot of wood tannins on this. I'm wondering if this has a more age to it. Because it's really hitting my tongue, then it's drying out my palate quite a lot. I'm going to say this could be because it's double oaked, Charles, I'm looking at you to try to get some clues.
I'm a poker
It's very
player.
sweet.
I'll throw you off. You'll get blank stares for days.
It is definitely sweet on the nose, really rich, like this, quite dry on the palate. I was expecting it to kick up maybe a little bit more sweetness. I'm not really getting that so much. It's more of like that wood, like tobacco, like resiny leather note there, which,
Hmm.
which is quite nice. And I'm still getting some of that cherry I was getting on the palate there as well, on the nose. Okay, I'm going to go
Looks like
51%
Aaron's making a guess here.
1910. Yeah, I've just done an Old Forester blind, so I'm
Hmm.
pretty well versed with 1910, and I can tell you this isn't 1910. This has more proof than 1910 for ABV. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 53% ABV.
Ooh, you missed that one, buddy.
Oh, there you go. This may be a little bit higher than maybe let's have a look. Incorrect. So I'm gonna say this is not finished.
Not finished.
Okay, there you go. Not finished. So if it's higher, well, obviously it might be lower ABV, but I feel like it's on the higher end.
I think the color of this one throws everyone off when they see it because it really, really does give you some interesting notes. And that bubblegum note that you were picking up in the beginning, very few people get that. I get it. A couple other people that I've let try this gets it, but man, I tell you, this thing, I just don't know how to explain how good it is. I mean, everybody watching us, they're wondering, and I mean, this is a treat here. These are great.
Yeah, I think it's. Not how much rye in the mash bill. I definitely feel like it might come through on the palate, like maybe that like rising rye note.
They have a undisclosed mash bill,
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, they don't let that one out.
So no points so far because I didn't get the finished one. Um, this distillery is probably. I'm not too familiar. I feel like with this distillate, quite new for me, and it's not finished. So this is kind of. I feel like this is maybe like a higher rye mash bill that isn't MGP. It doesn't taste like MGP. But a distillery that I'm not too familiar with, and one that people don't generally guess, is what Charles is telling me. So I need to kind of go maybe somewhere that's a little niche. And I'm going to say uh, Uncle Nearest.
No, it is not Uncle
Oh,
Nearest.
um,
I see what you did there per our conversation earlier. You trying to pull a fast one on me.
well, I'm trying to utilize the resources that are given to me and the circumstances that it's provided me and try to make an educated and informed guess.
So what
But
you're
no,
saying is your entire conversation with me was just a probe to find out what we're sipping
pulling,
on.
just pulling stuff out of you.
Yeah.
Seeing what's on your mind right now, ready for after. And then the money wise. So I think it's going to be those top two tiers, if I'm completely honest. I'm going to go 75 or less.
I'm sorry you missed it.
Mm.
I think we're doing better this time. We need to make sure that Nathan watches this to see this is how it was supposed to go with him.
I mean, I'm going to be interesting to see what that was. Like I said, I feel like I haven't had.
There's probably two up here that you've never had.
Yeah, this tobacco. This is as a tobacco note. Yes, that was a difficult one. So I appreciate that. Thank you for doing that.
I really tried to stick close to our price point. There was two bottles that I really wanted to send to you.
Mm-hmm.
It would have blown the price category way out. And man, maybe when we do the next one, if we do a next one, I hope we do, I can send those to you. I think you will really enjoy what I had planned.
Hey, just send me them anyway. You know, I'm a whiskey drinker. I don't hate on drinking whiskey. You can just send me the whole bottles. You know, I'll send them
Yeah,
back to you when I'm done with them. Like, there you go, when
yeah,
they're empty.
yeah. I just collect the
We
empty
are,
bottle.
and if you're just joining us, I'm doing the whiskey that Charles sent me. I'm trying to pick apart the ABV, seeing if I can get within 4.9% ABV. I'm going to try to pick out which one of these is finished, which distillery, and then the pricing category. Is it 25 or less, 50 or less, 75 or less, or 100? So we are on glass C here. We have two down. And so far, the first one went very well. The second one, well, we'll just shelve that for the time being.
Oh
No,
no,
you
that was
start.
the best one of all. That's the tricky bottle. Actually, I have two bottles. That is when I reveal these to you, you're going to be like, "What the heck did he send to me?"
Wait, this C one has like Oloroso, Pedro Jimenez kind of sherry notes to it. But you said that nothing was finished outside of the double oak.
Correct.
Interesting.
I will double check. I don't believe. No, just the one is double oaked, and unless you just knew it was double oak, you probably wouldn't know. And I'll give you that hint. That hint's worth giving.
Well, I don't. This is really crazy, like a cognac, like creme brulee vanillas and like brandy salt type notes to this.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of
fluffy. It is. It's trying to throw me for a little bit of a loop, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a little bit of like campfire ash there as well.
Definitely that. I get that every time.
Mm-hmm. Not necessarily overly sweet. It does tinge the nose hairs. I won't have to trim my nose hairs for a little while here. It might be kicking up a little bit in proof, but we shall see. It looks relatively oily in the glass.
Apparently, we got some crazy palates per Mr. Jason here. I appreciate you watching, buddy. Cheers to everybody in Hopkinsville.
Wait, that's Scotchy. It reminds me of a little bit like High West Campfire. It has some like those rye notes. It has like some of those smoky notes as well. And almost like a Scotchy, peaty medicinal note there as well. Like, I don't know if this is what they were going for. Like, it kind of has that, you know, the campfire medicinal note. If someone told me this was a campfire from High West, like, I would 100% believe them on this. But from being a whiskey that isn't finished, it's just kind of really fun to see some of the flavors you get from alcohol that is just put into a wooden barrel and aged in a specific environment, right?
Right.
So this is essentially what all these are and how different they are together.
Yeah, this one here is one I discovered. I think it was in like November, and definitely it was December. I found this in December. I tried it. I couldn't believe it. I was completely impressed. And as soon as I get the opportunity to go back in the area, I'm going to pick up another bottle. Their distribution's kind of small.
Very dry on the palate. I feel like I got a bit of cat tongue going on here, like, you know? Well,
it's like
I'm going to say that this is, okay. I'm getting a little bit of a little yeast, a little grain. I think this is craft. I think just on that basis, craft distilleries don't make $25 or less bottles. So I'm going to say we got the last one, which was 75, incorrect. So I'm going to say that this is the 75 or less one.
You would be correct.
Okay, hours of deduction right there, like ABV. So we said this was not finished. Did I say it was not finished? I don't think I've said yet. Yeah, not finished.
I don't think you said either way.
Yeah, sorry, not finished.
That's correct. No, you're not finished on that one.
Even though it kind of noses like it might be, but which is but that kind of would explain maybe it being craft, you know. Mm-hmm. This can sometimes get some crazy flavors into whiskey, you know. It's in their own individual process.
Yeah, it sneaks up on you.
Is this distillery going to be difficult for me to get, sure?
Yeah, this one, you've been to the area, you've driven by this, you've seen it. I know you've seen it because you had to see it passing to some other distilleries that I know you visited, and you're just going to be like, oh no.
So it's in Kentucky is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think everything is Kentucky, and everything is within 35 miles of each other.
You give me a little bit of a clue of these last two now, you know, being able to pick this up. What is? Oh, I had an idea of what it could be just now, but it's completely gone. Um, yeah. So let's do the ABV on this. My
Yeah.
mind has been on fire for the last few days. I live in Colorado, and I've just been up in the mountains. I've been pretty nonstop for the last few days, so it's good to be back home and pushing the reset. Even though I had a phenomenal weekend here.
Yeah, you've been up in the mountains and I've been down in Florida, so we've had polar opposites on our altitude, which like we were speaking of earlier today, with the way that bourbon tastes in altitude versus being at sea level, it's crazy different. It's unbelievable the difference. I really enjoy drinking my whiskeys and bourbons at sea level. I feel like I get so much more flavor from it than I do when I'm at altitude.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I was saying, I feel like the whiskey like sweats a little bit more in humidity. I feel like
Hmm.
that brings out a lot of the flavors. Where I think at altitude it kind of thins everything out a little bit. ABV, Charles. I'm gonna go 57% ABV. Though I think you might be higher.
57. You were very close. You get your 10 points for that.
10 points. Well, I will take my 10 points for that because I feel like I'm not going to get the distillery right.
I mean, I would have never. I'll just say this: I would not get this distillery. If someone set this down to me, and they're like, "Hey, pick what this is," I would tank it. It would just be a bomb, left field completely. I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, I had something in my mind, and then it just whispered away somewhere else. But this is going to have to be a complete hedge. Angel's Envy.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I Angel's Envy was incorrect. 2 out of 4. 2 out of 3, actually. That's not bad, I don't think. Well, actually, there's one more to go, isn't there? Oh, yeah, no, the price category right, didn't I?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, I feel like back to normal service has been resumed in this one. So we got the price right. We got the ABV right. Finished. We didn't get that right because we only scored that once. And then the distillery is incorrect. And if I remember what I was thinking about with that one, I'll bring it back up again. Because it's not Angel's Envy, it's more craft. It is. I feel like it's a lot more craft whiskey, a newer distillery. Probably somebody's been around for maybe five, maybe a little longer.
I'll have to check after the stream to find out how old they are. I don't believe they have been around very long.
Yeah.
I don't want to give you any more hints, but if I say too much, I think that you would probably get it.
I'm going to guess this is double oak.
Oh, of course. Of course. Process of elimination. Wow. Jeez.
No, I just knew. That's all. I was nothing to do with it.
I mean, if the first three wasn't, the other one has to be, right?
It was a good one to leave last, you know? So then I could figure that out. I'll finish one for that.
If you get the distillery on this, I'll have to send you something else because this was a special one.
Yeah. This is a lot more sweeter. A lot more somebody's put dumped a big tub of coffee in a bourbon barrel and just kind of tarred it with that in there. Very approachable, very, very kind of like burnt brown sugar that you know when they wheel out the creme brulee.
Yeah.
They put the torch on top of it like that, and you get that smoke that comes and hits that nose, and has some of that really nice sweet notes here.
Maybe the next time you can come out here and you can make some creme brulee for me. I feel like you demonstrated that so well that you may have done that in a previous life.
I've had creme brulee from a couple of restaurants. You know, it is a staple of mine, which is maybe why I like bourbon so much, because you get a lot of that vanilla, the smokiness, some of the bourbon, some of like the burnt brown sugar, bacon spices, all kind of quite transferable. I feel like those who like bourbon tend to like desserts maybe more than savory things, because bourbon is a lot more sweeter than maybe like a Scotch or an Irish whiskey. So I think there might be a little thinking behind that. So what we got off the board.
For me, the whiskey for me typically is like my dessert. Like I eat a steak and then I finish up with my whiskey, and that I'm not a big sweets guy, but this is the sweet that I go to.
Helps kind of cut through a nice heavy dinner, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Once again, a little bit of bubble gum from this. What if it's Woodford? Anyway, let's go in for a taste here. So, by the powers of deduction and process of elimination, we can conclude that the $75 and the $50 bottles are off the table. This is a double oaked whiskey, and I know of no one in their right mind doing double oaked whiskey for less than $25, Charles.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty damn sure. Like, I don't know of anybody. There might be people out there, but I do not know of anybody. So I'm going to say this is that top tier bottle. $100 or less.
$100 or less.
I think that another good bottle to have at the end there. Like what I said before, when it comes to the $25 bottle and the $100 bottle, those are the times where like I just do crazy things, and all reason just kind of leaves me. When I was doing the tasting with Nathan, I was like, this smells like it has a lot of age. My palate was recognizing I had a lot of wood. And then I saw the glass, it looked a little bit dark. And then I immediately said like the more expensive one, and then it was the opposite. But anyhow, 100 or less, not finished. So we have distillery and ABV proof. I don't think many distilleries are really doing cask strength double oaked whiskey. I'm sure there's some out there, but not. What are those guys at 13th Colony doing? Are they doing some fun stuff down there?
Yeah, they were doing some interesting, shady stuff.
Oh, I think they might just be coming to Colorado. I don't think they're quite here yet. I think this is definitely a place that they like. I haven't seen them anywhere.
Right. Like on our shelves, we see like their regular bourbon and then their rye, pretty common, but nothing special. Like I've never seen their double oak here, and I think 2 of their bottles of that 15-year anniversary made it to my area. That was it.
Okay.
Like we don't really get any of their limited releases around here.
It does have a little bit of a zing to it. I might have to hedge a little bit here. I'm going to do exactly this. No.
Oh, we got mediocre whiskey review. Cheers. Thanks for joining. Eric, nice to see you here.
I'm going to go for 1 ABV percent higher than my last guess. I'm going to go for 58% ABV. Or in your language, 116 proof, right?
Let's see. And you're guessing what is your ABV?
58.
58. You would be incorrect. Would you like a hint?
No, I don't need a hint. I'll just take my loss on that one.
I'm just going to write 0 for me all the way down. Like I'm not even going to score it. I'm not going to guess. It's just 0 across the board.
ABV and proof is normally what my strongest suit. It's probably higher. When I'm in the range of about 40% ABV to 55, I'm normally really good at picking stuff out. When it gets to the higher stuff, it can definitely be a little bit more convoluted. So we didn't get the point on that. We got the point on the price. Distillery. I said this kind of has some like almost like Woodford notes, like Brown Forman-esque. But I don't think it is, because they don't do a higher ABV double oaked. Like the double oak that they do, or the double oak that they do, even that isn't a high ABV either. The only high ABV stuff they do are some of the special releases and the batch proof.
Unfortunately, this year's double oak was horrible. It was bad. Like the previous year was great, but this one was no, absolutely not. And the price hike too. They raised it to like $80 for a 375. That's just insane.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Old Forester.
No.
No.
I've got some stinkers for you. These are hard. Like I didn't go easy on you. I'm like, you've been doing this a while. You're professional-ish, so we're gonna let you. I wanted to humble you. That's really what it was. I just wanted to be like, all right, I'm gonna come on here, and then I'm gonna show him exactly what it's like to be me.
So I had 3 in the first one, 0 in the second, and then 2, and then 2 again. So we got 7 points total out of possible 13. So a little bit more than half. I don't hate that, but now I need to put them in the order of my favorites, right?
Right.
This one. That's nice. Do you have a favorite from these? You don't have to tell me the
Oh,
numbers. You have a good idea.
yeah, my favorite is number 2. Like it's really good, and
That's
I
why I have a
like.
first thing.
Yeah, 2 and 4 are probably my favorite in this lineup, but the most interesting, absolutely, is number 3. Number 3 is crazy. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't even know what to say. Like, I keep revisiting that bottle, and I think about it, and I just want to be like, man, why does this thing keep transforming? Because the more this bottle opens up, every time it's just something different. Something different. It takes you on a roller coaster ride.
That was B. That was B. So first place, I have B. So let's start with the last. I'll let you reveal the last bottle, which is going to be bottle number A. So I thought this was Evan Williams single barrel. I think is essentially where I was at on this.
Are you ready?
As ready as I am ever.
All right. Well, let's take a look here. This is going to be Evan Wood, the discontinued 86 proof. This one hadn't been out in a while. How many years has this been gone? Like 7 or 8 years now it's been gone. So, yeah.
It's interesting to see that not much of the distillate has changed over the last few years. It's very Evan Williams-esque, you know?
This bottle here, I put it up against the new offering, and I love this one way more. And I was fortunate enough, I walked into a random store and they had a bunch of these just sitting there, and I was able to snag these up for like $13 a piece.
Nice one. Yeah, you know, like I said, none of these whiskeys were bad at all. I just felt like, you know, some of the notes were a little subdued, and that could have been to do with the ABV as well. Like, you know, it wasn't as punchy as some of these other ones. But you sent me an Evan Williams bottle, and I'm a hardcore Evan Williams fan, you know, because the history behind Evan Williams is tied in with Welsh culture quite a lot. Evan Williams, the guy came over from Wales, over there in Louisville, Kentucky. So I did. That was probably the best one out of all 4. Actually, I did pretty well on the third one as well. I had 2 or 3. So we had a really good start there. Really close to 1780. That would have been a difficult bottle for me to guess as well, because, like you said, not really around anymore.
Right.
So last but one, for third place, I went for bottle C for Charlie.
All right, so C. Oh man, this one right here. I'm ready for this one. This is the most interesting model in the lineup here.
This is what I thought was craft, I think, right?
Yeah, this is the Glen Creek OCD number 5. So this is let's. Oh come on, let me get my face out of here. There you go. So the OCD stands for the Old Crow Distillery Mash Bill number 5. So they're actually on the Old Crow original facility. Like the ruins, the old buildings are still there, and then they have a very small facility. I did kind of like reach out to see some information about them. There's only like 6 people that work there. Yeah, tiny
just
place.
chilling.
Yeah, just hanging out, sipping good stuff, and doing their thing.
How much was this one?
75. I think in the store when I picked it up, it was like 70. I think it was like $73.99 plus tax. Yeah.
I didn't mind it at all. I think this is quite close to the last one. I think those kind of like smoky kind of notes threw me off a little bit. I've never had any of this distillate before, as you can probably guess. Like nothing that I'm ever used to. So there's definitely a little bit more of like a lot of that resiny that's coming through there, a little sappy note. Maybe it's like a touch of sourness there as well. Not necessarily there's a bad thing. Again, just kind of some of the notes I'm getting from the palate there. This brings us on to second, a very great going by bottle number D, Fort Delta, which I thought was maybe the Old Forester distillery, which was a difficult one again for me to pick. What did we have here, Charles?
All right, that's going to be the Hirsch single barrel. This is actually 95% Willet.
95%. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so it's got this. This is going to be 64.1 or 128.2. Yeah, it's
Okay.
yeah, 95% 8 years, 7 month, and then 5% 3 years, 7 months. So I don't know who the 3 year is in it, but there's not enough in it that really tames
Sure.
down that willet.
Is it their own distillate, the 3-year, or are they fully sold?
I believe they're fully sourced. I don't think that they produce anything. If they do, then that's beyond me. I don't know that they do. I've not heard that they have any of their own stuff.
Hmm. That's fine though. I don't mind it. Like I said, it has a little bit of a bubblegum note in them, nice and sweet. I quite like it. I've never
Mhm.
had this bottle before, or Hirsch in general. But I'm gonna have to maybe keep my eye out for it. And it's quite a pricey bottle. What is that? That was 101, right?
Yeah, they come
So,
in at 99.99. There's not really any markup for them, but they do not last on the shelf. Most stores that get them only get like 2 bottles at best, and they go
okay.
instantly.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, you can reveal my favorite out of the 4, which is
It's going to be the Green River Single Barrel Store Pick from Liquor Barn number
there you go.
4.
I've
Um,
had this. Go ahead.
no, this is an amazing bottle. This actually comes in at 119 proof.
How much was that guy?
This one is under 50. I think it's 48.99. And
That goes to show. Go ahead.
yeah, I'm just going to say, yeah, this one pretty available in our area most of the time, and then most of the bigger stores do picks of them.
I think that just goes to show that money doesn't always, buy quality. But like I said, some of these have been really good, but a $50 bottle kind of won
Yeah.
it in the end, which I think is pretty cool. Like, and I think I've had the wheated bourbon, I've had the regular bourbon from these guys. I haven't had the single barrels, and it's pretty good showing because I thought that the other stuff, then those 2 new ones they released were just kind of okay. The single barrel picked that pretty well, different. I'm completely honest,
Yeah.
Are you surprised I picked that bottle first?
I'm actually not surprised that you picked the Green River first. It's actually my favorite out of the lineup. That was the pick that I like. I personally enjoy this bottle probably more than any of the other ones. The Hirsch is probably my second, and then with the OCD number 5, that's just something when I want to sit down and kind of think about bourbon and kind of dissect what's going on there. That one just you can't hardly figure it out because every time you come back, it's different. Like there's not a consistent flavor profile throughout that bottle. It changes every single time you pour.
Is that the one that you said that you open like half of you when you open it, you split it up into halves?
Yes.
I can definitely see that,
Yeah.
But all in all, we're not really surprised by the order that I put them in. Like they kind of sound like you would have put them in the same order.
I think I would have put them in the exact same order.
Hey, there you go. At least that's on 3 extra points for that.
Yeah, you get 1 brownie point. I don't know that it equates to anything, but 1 brownie point really comes in handy around here with people liking brownies.
I get the tiebreaker.
Yeah, it's the tiebreaker. Now, can we just go down and put zeros for everything for myself and make me look like I was really good, but we just forgot to put the 1 at the front of it?
A, B. So, I'll be honest. 2 of these are macro distilleries.
Okay.
1 is craft, and then 1 is kind of macro.
So what you're saying is I absolutely will not get the distilleries.
Not necessarily.
Right.
I can give you some hints along the way, depending on how you do on this first bottle.
When you do your hints, do you spell it out like word? No, I'm just kidding. All right. This is.
What are you drinking tonight?
Yeah, what is this? Yeah, you got the bottle behind you. Let me see that. Oh man.
I'm gonna let you keep your own score in, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
You have
Yeah. I got a point for every one of these already.
Good. The drinking glass A.
Yeah, this is glass.
And you need to get the ABV within 4.9%. You need to guess if it's finished because 2 of these are finished, and 1 of them is going to be so obvious that it's finished. And you'll be able, 2 of them, you'll probably get both of the finished ones, but 1 of them is screamingly obvious. So you need to guess if it's finished, but you only get the points, if it's finished. Of course, the distillery and then the price category that it falls into.
Yeah, just moving the glasses over here, I could smell something. I'm not going to say that what I think it is yet, but I have a really good, strong feeling what the one finishing is, because it's just kind of wafting all over the air here in the office.
I'm doing that just to hijack your senses as you're trying to nose through the rest of them. That's all you're going to be able to notice is that one.
Yeah. If you did anything like you did to Nathan, you ripped him on the very first go. Okay. All right. So I'm getting, whoa. All right. So this one here, I'm getting a little bit more ethanol off of this one than I thought that I would. Are these mediocre ABVs or just kind of a spread across the board?
I'm not telling you.
Hey, I mean, you can't blame a guy for trying, right?
Hey, I respect the hustle, my man. I respect the hustle.
Yeah, I even did my research. I watched y'all's videos again before our live, so I could,
Well, there you go.
guess. But
we'll have to wait and see, my man.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll go just the first ball, and then we'll kind of go from there. What are we thinking so far with this?
A little oaky, sweetness. Definitely didn't get any celery off of it. It's kind of youthful. Let's give it a sip. It's kind of light. Yeah. So very light on the palate. The ABV is actually, I feel like it's lower on the palate than it is on the nose. I'm getting more off the nose than I was on the palate. So I'm thinking probably it's going to be a lower ABV. So for number one on ABV,
see, this is where the 4.9% ABV comes in to affect a little bit here, because when you're thinking which one you're going to fall, you need to get it a little bit more accurate as opposed to when it's 5% ABV.
Mm-hmm. This is pretty light. So 90 proof, so 45%.
Bingo. Right on the money.
Okay. All right. And then what's the other categories we're doing here? Price and
finish, distillery, and then the ABV.
Yeah. Price, I'm going to put this one probably in that 25 and under.
I will not reveal that until the end. And sworn to secrecy.
Sworn to secrecy. You guys are not as friendly over in Colorado as we are. We'll just tell anybody anything.
No, I think you revealed them to me, right? So yeah, that was the 20. Was it? That was the 25 or less dollar bottle.
Maybe I looked at the key that you didn't send me.
There you go, mate.
Okay, and then this is not finished.
Yep.
Okay. And then distillery.
This is where you separate the men from the boys. Yeah, Charles, can you get a full sweep here off the bat?
I don't know.
I made it typical with two of the distilleries, but I think I give you a good flavor, like two macros, one kind of macro, one craft,
See, I actually don't typically get too many smaller craft and macro distillery stuff.
Yeah, not do
I guess that's why you're sampling these out, but like I got to get these out of the Cove.
Well, no, there's specific reasons why I'm sampling them out, because I think that they bring very unique tasting notes to the forefront on some of them.
Can I get a state that this comes from?
Yeah, the United States.
Oh, that's great. That's is that just the continental, or we got Alaska? And
I can give you the state, the very proud state of Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah.
All
Which
right.
probably doesn't really make it easier with the amount of distilleries in Kentucky.
Geez, I'm gonna go with Yellowstone, but I don't think they're the Yellowstone Distillery. I think they're something else. What do they call themselves? Limestone Distillery or something?
I know the one you're on about. Yeah, you would be incorrect.
Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna get that one.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but
All right. Well,
2 out of 3 in bad, you know.
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna wear that badge of honor right there. That was the
Mate,
distilleries are gonna get me.
if you get 2 on each one, you will win it on 8 points. So you have the ability to get an extra point because 2 of them are finished. So use that to your advantage.
Okay, so we're here with number B or letter B.
Cool.
A little darker, a little richer, some burnt caramels. This one kind of giving me a little singe in the nose here. I feel like this is a little bit higher proof.
Building you up from the lower proof stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
Love the nose on this one. Phenomenal. I think
Yeah.
that I think that's above, you know.
Yeah, that's got a lot of oak on that. That's really good. A little drying. If I had to put an age on this, I'd say 4 to 6 years. It doesn't seem over that 6-year point because it's it falls off at the end of the finish, like it's a kind of a shorter finish there.
Are you saying it's finished? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-mm. No
I'm
finish.
I'm just trying to trap you. That's all.
Oh yeah. See, you Brits are tricky. I mean, for God's sakes, you eat beans for breakfast. What the heck, man?
Don't respect the hustle with the baked beans. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of countries around the world eat beans. They just have them a different way, right? You know.
Yeah, we do ours for dinner. You do yours for breakfast, and you got. I mean, let's face it, y'all's bacon is really ham. Come on, it's really ham.
You guys kind of eat dessert for breakfast, so there's that
Wow.
as well.
You start with the best first, my friend. Come on.
So good passion, So you're saying that did you say that it was not finished, or was that inconclusive at this moment?
No, not finished on this one. I don't believe this is finished.
You would be correct that it's not finished.
No.
So you don't get the point on that, but it's, from the powers of deduction, that gives you a lot of information about the lot too.
ABV, I'm going with I'm going to go with 50% 100 proof.
On the money.
Okay.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, it didn't really have enough of the spice there to make me think it was any higher than that. I felt like you were letting me build up to something. I don't know what you're building up to. I'm scared. Let's see. Not finished, distillery, price. If I had to put a price on this one, I'm going to have to go with the under 50.
Under $50. Is it under $50? Yes, it is.
Oh.
Nice guess.
Okay. Distillery.
Also, as well, anybody in the chat, go ahead and smash that like button as well on the video so we can get Charles more viewership here, like that he deserves.
Yeah.
Unless he wins this blind battle, then just.
Oh, it's going to happen. I'm on a tie or lose by 1. I am notorious for second place. Yeah. Be sure to share this video out with your friends. If you're catching it in the replay, make sure you throw me a comment in there saying replay fam. I appreciate it. And everybody that's with us tonight, looks like we got 17 people in here right now. I really appreciate everybody sticking with us. I know it's a Monday. You got better things to do like sleeping or hating on work or maybe just getting drunk with us. I mean, Patrick and I enjoy the company.
Well, it's all about, man. You know, drinking good whiskey, having good and fun conversation, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Distillery, I'm struggling because I'm not really getting anything that's going to lead me to anybody specifically. And you've pretty much ruled out the legacy guys, so I don't even have a guess for it. Geez, what? Yeah, I'm stumped on that one, so I'm gonna have to just take a wild
Throw
stab.
something out. Throw it out. Drop into the depths of Charles's subconscious knowledge and just pull something out on instinct. It's the best way to do it.
Okay, so if we're just gonna do just a random distillery, let's give somebody a good shout out that could be good. You made some. No, I'm not gonna say that because that's probably wrong. I don't want to look like any more of an idiot than I already do.
Oh, not at all, man. This is picking a distillery from a whiskey is very difficult, you know.
Yeah, and when you watch people like Matt Porter do it, like instantly, I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
Somebody small. Wilderness.
Incorrect. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
Yeah, I felt that one coming.
I think you got some good points coming forward, mate. You know, with the finished whiskey and whatnot.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm going finished.
And this one?
Yes. What the heck is this? Jesus Christ. I mean, as dark as this is, you could call this midnight. I want everybody to see how dark that is. Look at that. Look at the legs on that boy. Jesus Christ. He didn't miss leg day. I'm telling you. Speaking of leg day, you've been hitting the gym, haven't you? You look like you've been working out, bud.
Trying to, doing less of the burger curls and trying to do more of the weight curls,
Well, I've been doing the same thing. I'm a carnivore now. I switched to carnivore to help my kidneys because I suffer from kidney stones, and carnivore has absolutely changed my life.
Man, I've done bits of mainly when I diet pretty hard, I jumped into low carb. So I wouldn't say keto because I don't eat high amounts of fat. I just eat ramp up the protein and then just eat less of everything else. So I just make chicken or steak my staple. And then afterwards, then it's just kind of whatever else adds back in healthy,
Looks like work is to worry about tomorrow.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a wild whiskey that you'll do well to guess. This is a difficult one. I wanted to send you this whiskey because I can guarantee you never had anything like this.
Well, just off the nose, I can tell you that I have never smelt anything like this. This is completely different than anything. I don't expect to get anything other than maybe the ABV. If you'll give me a hint, you know what I'm saying?
I'll give you a hint on the distillery. How about that? It's a craft distillery.
Hold off on it. I don't want because I have a guess. I really do. I have a guess.
Okay.
And I know it's going to be wrong, so that makes it even better for me.
You got the finish correct, which is good. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
let me. I don't know.
Yeah, let's get that point written down. Finish 1 point. Because I'm going to need these points. These are really going to add up. All right.
Have you tasted it yet?
It's on the nose, this gives me some weird apricot-y fruitness with some apple wine brandy finish. This is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I'm not saying this is great whiskey. I think this is okay. It's solid whiskey, but I just think the uniqueness of this bottle is what makes it a fun bottle. So.
Yeah, I enjoy interesting and unique pours. They don't have to be the most expensive or anything, but I just like something that challenges my profile and challenges my palate.
When you try it, it's also going to be what the heck is going on with this whiskey? It is throwing me sideways, and it's just...
What the heck? What is this, apple cider? Oh my gosh. This is like candy. This is the sweetest thing I have ever tasted. Sweetest whiskey, bourbon, whatever. Like
Yeah.
this could pass for like a children's drink. It's so sweet. I cannot wait to find out what this is.
Do not give it to children.
Jesus Christ. I gotta have another sip of this. Like
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
fun.
expect it to be that sweet. Like it was sweet on the nose, and it has like kind of an appley pear. Like it's so. Have you ever had like cooked not pears, but peaches that are like been crusted over with like the crumbles and stuff? Like it's got
Mhm.
a very very over the top sweetness to it. Like this is something I couldn't go to every day. Like if I had a
No, no,
bitter dinner
no.
and had this,
Yeah.
I would blow my palate out.
Yeah, I think this works really well with a cigar. So you get like the smokiness and the
Yeah,
dryness of a
I can see that.
cigar, and you pair with something that's a little on the sweeter side. They balance each other out. But it's a wild whiskey, that's for sure.
On the proof here, it doesn't seem overly proofy. It actually seems kind of low. So I'm going to go with let's do 48% ABV, 98 proof.
48% ABV. This is where the fun starts because you are incorrect.
Oh,
It
damn, man.
is 57.3.
What? No way.
Yes, way, yeah. 57.3% ABV on this guy. I think it's
This-
just the sweetness, Charles, you know?
Yeah, it cuts through the ABV. Like I would have never in a million years guessed that it was that high ABV.
I had to look at the bottle like 2 or 3
114?
times, like 114.6, yeah.
Jesus Christ. So let me go ahead and write this down as a loss. ABV. And then price. Because of the uniqueness of it, I think I'm going to go ahead and put this in possibly the $75 category.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Or you would be incorrect.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, that just means that the distillery I'm absolutely not going to get.
No, it's out of the park if you want to get the distillery.
Gosh. If it's a micro one, it's got to be from maybe out there where you're at. So, Boulder?
Again, sorry, you cut out a little bit.
Was it Boulder?
Boulder Spirits?
Yeah.
It was not Boulder Spirits. It's a pretty solid guess, given, again, our conversation from earlier on. It is not Boulder Spirits. I think you've heard of them, but I will reserve that until the end.
How dare you?
I think you are thankful that I left the 2 finished ones at the end, because if you imagine having these at the beginning, that would have been really sad to screw you over that bad, because these are so wild in flavor, you know?
Yeah, well, just moving that glass over here, I can tell you there was Amberana on that. Like, I instantly got no. Well,
I'm not saying anything right now, but I will tell you one thing: it is finished.
Yeah, it's Applejack, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, freaking Amberana. It's like you just dumped my breakfast cereal into my bowl here. Jesus, I'm glad this wasn't first, because if you treated me like you treated Nathan, like we may not be able to do another live together. Like that was just absurd.
Lessons were learned.
Yeah. Next time we do it,
go ahead.
No, the next time I do this, I'm going to make sure that your number one is going to be something just horrible, like maybe like an RD1 Amberana finish right there on the beginning.
A peated Scotch finish rye or something like that.
Oh gosh,
it's hell of a nose, though, isn't it?
Yeah, the nose is really infectious. Like you could just bury your face in this. Like this is something like if you walked into like the Yankee Candle workshop and you walked in there, you'd be like, oh yeah, this is fall. This is those Apple Jacks, the dried apples and cinnamon.
Yeah, it's crazy what you can get from a wood barrel.
Yeah, it's insane. And Amberana, that's from Brazil, right?
Brazilian oak, yeah, that's exactly right. So you have Amberana. So the main players in the whiskey world are Amberana, Brazilian oak, Mizunara, which is Japanese oak, and then you have French oak as well, which is quite popular. Penelope used quite a lot.
Mhm.
And then you have obviously like American white oak, and also as well there's some other different breeds of oak trees along like the Pacific Northwest and on the East Coast. The other
Mhm.
distilleries have been playing around with and getting really unique notes. But
I
definitely,
didn't know
you know,
you were an
don't.
arborist.
No, not did I, but you know, it's funny what you learn from whiskey, right?
Yeah. You think you're just going to be an alcoholic and you end up learning about degum trees.
You give me an honorary degree, like.
Yeah. Okay.
What are we thinking? Any other notes from this? Have we tried it yet? No, no, he's going in for a big one.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely on those. It's that cinnamon, apple jacks, sweetness, like everything that Amberana brings. But it actually has, on the palate, it has more sweetness. Like it was maybe double finished, like started in Amberana and then moved to the honey barrel.
I see where you're going with that.
But I don't
I
think
think
it is.
I think Amburana tends to need a little bit of sweetness with it. I think if
Yeah.
you see what a lot of distilleries have tended to be doing, they tend to double finish it because it can be the spicy notes can be somewhat overwhelming at times,
Yeah.
which is
Very
generally why
overpowering.
like a lower ABV and a lower proof, they'll finish it with something that's a little sweeter to help balance that out.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying who does what because that will give you an indication. Maybe what's in the glass. Hey, I respect that, Jason.
Yeah,
Get some more
absolutely.
whiskey after that. I need something to get some more water.
Yeah, I actually prepared. I brought 2 glasses of water because I felt like drinking all of this was going to be something that I was going to need. And then even after the live stream, I'm going to have to finish these and maybe keep going.
Hey, what you need to do is that you need to get like an infinity bottle and just sling them in there and just take some pulls from it every now and again, like you know.
I
I have
actually
a
have one of those. It's slightly below my esophagus, directly below my
dump
chin.
everything in.
Yeah, I just dump everything in and hope it turns out good. We'll find out in the morning how it turns out. Um, I have a good guess on this one, and it's only because I've done my research.
Mm,
Yeah. You know where I'm going, right?
hope so. Maybe I've thrown you off. We'll see.
See, did you plan that well leading into this that you didn't send me something that someone else may have sampled?
Would I do that? That
Maybe.
you know, that would be the ultimate game move, wouldn't it? Just to like the bait and switch. But
Oh,
you
God.
tell me, what are we thinking? Let's do ABV, is it?
All right, ABV. One last sip for ABV. Um, Given the fact that this is a finished and it's Amberana and the sweetness tones down, I'm going to go with let's do let's do a 52% ABV, 104 proof. Oh, you're kidding me, right? It's like ridiculously high. Jesus Christ.
57.1. You missed it by 0.2 of a decimal.
Okay, I just don't even understand why we're doing this to myself here. Oh gosh.
It's actually drinks quite tame, isn't it, for 57% ABV or 114 proof, like, you know?
Yeah,
And
both of
again,
these finished ones are absolutely destroying me on the ABV, but like they did a great job finishing these. I can't believe how well these are done. They're extremely balanced. I really enjoy both of them, and especially the C, that right there, that thing. I got to get a bottle of that. That's got to be here at the house. All right, so I'm going to take a stab because I don't think you're as tricky and slick as you thought you were. So, are we going to go Doc Swinson Bossa Nova?
are we going as that as the official distillery?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that because if it's not, then I'll be disappointed.
You are correct.
Mm.
Homework complete. Assignment A. Well, actually, no, B, because you got the ABV incorrect. You
Yeah.
didn't do your homework as much as you should have.
So I got 1 point. I got the fact that this is a finished,
Yep. 2 points.
and the
You
price
need
category.
one more point to tie the game, just to let you know. So you need to get this right, Charles.
So
Are you on 6 right now, right?
it's
No, you're on 7, right?
2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, we're tied, right?
Yeah, tied right now. So if you get this one, you take the W.
This is going to be the under 75.
I was gonna say, now you know the bottle. It should be somewhat easier. This is the under 75. You nailed
Oh,
it.
do we have a winner here, ladies and gentlemen? Did I take
Another
down
winner.
the legend? Oh my geez, look at this.
Could be the extra point as well. So it's kind of technically a draw, I feel like. But yeah,
I agree.
We'll give you the introduction to live stream win, mate. Congratulations.
Yeah,
I
thank
do
you.
also want to see you put them in an order.
Okay. Wow. Going back all the way to that first one, it has waxiness to it that is really nice. Like a Crayola color crown kind of deal.
I'm not going to give you my impressions and my kind of small write-ups about each bottle until you have them in an order.
Okay.
I don't want to influence that.
So, because I enjoyed it and it was so unique and I really appreciate the uniqueness of it, C is going to be my first place. And then followed up, let me try this one more. Yeah, B will be, let me write these down. C is first, B, and then I'm going to go D, and then A.
So we're going to go A is in last place.
Correct.
So I can reveal. So the distillery, you said Yellowstone?
Yes, Yellowstone.
So it's funny, actually, the bottle that you sent me was a discontinued bottle. Because this is kind of discontinued, but I think this is a Kentucky-only bottle. And it's definitely a bottle you probably have. And it's definitely a bottle that you've tried before. And that is Heaven Hill 7.
Gosh. Yep. Old style. Son of a gun.
I think you probably had this kind of bit, right?
Yeah, it did not give me that that peanuttiness, but I think the age on it compared to the new release really tames down that peanuttiness, and it gives me more of kind of a breadiness than I typically get.
Yeah, and with this one, this is something that people don't take into account. This is actually charcoal filtered.
Yes.
So I don't know if it's the exact same as the Lincoln County process, but it does mellow it out a lot. Right. I was a little disappointed when I had this, if I'm completely honest. I thought that it was just super tame. Like, if you're someone who's getting into whiskey and you want to start drinking whiskey or bourbon neat, and you don't like the spiciness or the heat that comes from whiskey, and you're able to get one of these, I think this is a pretty good starting bottle, because it is tame and it does drink really light. And it's funny that this is also a Heaven Hill, and you started with Heaven Hill and a discontinued one. I thought that was pretty unique, you know?
To my knowledge, that's probably the only Kentucky product that is doing the charcoal mellowing process. But like you said, I'm not sure if it's the same as the Lincoln County process, but that is the only one that I know of that is doing it.
Yeah, which is really unique. And this is Kentucky only, right?
Yes.
Was it always Kentucky only, do you know?
To my knowledge, it was Kentucky only, and now it's obviously discontinued. A few stores still randomly have it, and if you needed to pick it up, there are ways to get it, and they're usually like $50, which it's I don't know, it's not worth $50, but
not worth $50. Yeah, I was gonna say that it's worth where it is, maybe a little bit more, just because it has the extra age, and it's a cool older bottle. But I think that it was a pretty cool bottle to kind of send you to kind of keep into that $25 bracket, which isn't too bad. What was your third place, making it onto the podium?
That's going to be D.
D. So the Amburana Doc Vincent's then?
Yes.
So there should be no surprise, of course, because you already know which bottle it is. And that is the Boston Nova by Doc Vincent's 57.1% ABV or 114.2 proof. So it's interesting with this one that they didn't double finish it. So like Penelope double finished on honey and then Amburana. And Doc Swinton's are bringing out an Amburana rye that is finished on rum and then finished on Amburana barrels. And I think this is, maybe they just got sweeter notes from the bourbon on this.
Yes.
I felt like it didn't need the extra level of sweetness. And I think it doesn't need that. Like you said earlier on, it kind of drinks quite sweet, doesn't it? That's sweet.
It's very sweet. Do they source theirs or do they produce their own distillate?
So they 100% source all their distillate, mostly from MGP, sometimes in Kentucky, and then also Tennessee as well, which is more likely Dickel.
Yeah.
However, it's interesting that they were originally a distillery. They make distillate, but they're a contract distillery. So they make like a lot of gins, vodkas, that sort of stuff.
Right.
And just as a side project, they started messing around with this, like sourcing whiskey from MGP and just finishing it because they have really good relations because of the contract work. And then they figured out that they could actually do really good finishes. So then that's how Doc Swinton's was born. I think they've been around since like 2017. We've had Jesse Parker on my show as well. We did the interview with him as well. Real cool guy as well. Really down to earth. I could talk whiskey to that guy for hours and hours and hours on end. Pretty busy individual also, but they finish whiskey as good as anybody. And this bottle of whiskey, I just fell in love with it as soon as I got it. Really, really top of bottle, that's for sure. Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one a lot.
Second place.
Second place will be B.
I think you'll be kicking yourself a little bit over this. I think if you maybe put a little bit more, try to recognize the distillate a little bit more, because I think it's definitely a distillate that you've probably drunk time and time again, and a distillery that you mentioned to me today, actually. So it might be in Wilderness Trail, you kind of ballpark in the right area. There was 100% ABV. The age, I think you're right on the money, 4 to 6, because it is bottled in bond.
Okay.
And you would have seen this bottle already, because Old Forester 1897.
Yeah. See, so that bottle and the what's the other one, the red labeled one? I can never remember the number.
Old Forester, the 1870.
1870. So those two, I don't typically get the traditional Old Forester notes from those. They do not give me that that, I don't know, kind of the weird funk that they give out. I don't get that bruised banana, any and that stuff. It's just not there for me. But like with many of their other products, I do. Like they're more their barrel strength stuff, the 1910, 1920. I pick up like some very distinct Old Forester notes to them. Those two, no.
I do get Old Forester notes from this personally. Their palates are all subjective, and what I know from my whiskey glass might be completely different to what you do. But I get like a cherry. I do get like banana runts and kind of that like yeasty popcorn type notes on this. But this is a bit more sweeter as well.
Yeah, this is definitely sweeter.
When I did the Old Forester blind, this just blew my mind how good it was. So that's why I really wanted to send it. I actually sent this to Nathan as well when we did the video. So
yeah,
just because I thought this is really good, really good whiskey.
I'm very interested to see what this last one is. This last one's got me just all kinds of twisted over here. It was so good, and especially being high proof, I just can't believe how good that was. And I don't think anyone would guess the proof on that one based on the level of sweetness that it delivers.
Definitely. The mini Trucker 1960 banana nut bread. That's exactly like Old Forester kind of banana nut bread, some walnuts and stuff. However, first place. So this says Colorado rye whiskey on the front, but this isn't a rye whiskey. It's their rye mash bill for their bourbon. It just says that on the front. So have you ever heard of 291?
No.
Never heard 291? Okay. A lot of people do have. This is Colorado 291M. So this is Colorado, their rye bourbon whiskey, finished with thin wood, staves, and then maple syrup barrel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that maple syrup is like very prevalent in this.
I think they left like half a barrel of maple in there before they poured the distillate in.
If that bottle was here, I would probably crush that thing because it is dangerous. I would be stumbling across the house tonight with that thing.
Yeah, so they are like 57.3% ABV, which is nuts. I think this is right around like the $100 mark. This is like a year. I think this is like a yearly release. You don't find it that often.
Hmm.
Uh, and they used to be really popular. But I think just with like the whiskey diet, whiskey kind of industry, not as busy as it once was, and it being like a craft whiskey and it's costing like $100 plus, you might be able to find them. And they come out with like different batches every year. So this is batch 5, and this is bottle number 145 out of 886 for like
I
one of
don't
the
think I've
runs is
seen that
like
around here.
1,000 bottles. Yeah, the 291. A lot of people do, are familiar with 291, but I think that it's normally they have like the barrel proof one, the single barrel, but they usually always like the price always seems to start at like $80. So it's difficult for a lot of people to buy like a
Mhm.
small batch bottle for like 80
Right.
bucks because if it's a distillate you don't like and you're trying to try it for the first time and it can be a waste of money, isn't it? And that's any whiskey really, isn't it? Any whiskey to you kind of want to try to find maybe something that's a little bit cheaper to see if you like their stuff. So $100 is a tough one to get into, but this was a recommendation, and it's a really great whiskey just to kind of really throw you for a curveball
Oh
on
yeah,
that.
that one absolutely just kind of messed me up there. But I'm glad because I really appreciate interesting and unique models. Like that's what I look for. And now that I've had this, I'm looking for it. So it's on my
Yeah,
radar.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I feel like some of the other stuff that they do can come across a little youthful in some aspects because they are 100% grain to glass their own distillate, and they're really proud about that. But I feel like the yeast needs a few more years to kind of
Mhm.
settle down. It has that maybe a craft funk. However, with this one, I think the introduction of the spin staves and the maple syrup just kind of level all of that in this bottle.
Oh
And
yeah.
I feel like the Colorado whiskey, finishing accent, which is a big part here in Colorado, accents are everywhere, and then maple syrup. It's just Colorado in a bottle, which I
Th-
thought was really good.
this would make like an amazing reduction to put over ice cream. It would
There you go.
absolutely be insane.
Yeah, this is the whiskey you add to an old fashioned, but you don't add any sugar.
Mm.
Doesn't need it.
Yeah. No. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm once this stream's over, I'm sitting with the rest of this and enjoying this because this is crazy. Definitely by far my favorite thing in the lineup. I really appreciate you putting that one in there because it
Yeah,
probably would be something that I would have never tried or maybe didn't even know that I should be looking for it.
yeah, no, completely random whiskey. It's like I said, small batch maybe once a year, every so often, very hard bottle to get. They
Mhm.
only make 886, and you probably have to go down to the distillery to get one of like the 500 bottles, and some you can get. Like I got this from a local store, and they were lucky to be able to get that. How would I put them in order? I probably would have gone with the Bossa Nova first. So
Mhm.
completely honest, because you know how much of a Doc Simpsons fanboy I am. And then probably
Right.
a tie between these two. Like this is so unique and so individual and so different. It's just not classic bourbon, and that's exactly what this is. This is just classic
Yes.
bourbon. So awesome in their own ways for different reasons. And of course, we already spoke about that one. I felt like
Yeah.
that was a little light in some notes. I felt like it was. Felt like it lacked a little bit more of a punch, but again, that could be just like the mellow process with that. But yeah, Doc Simpson's really good.
You
Love
always
that
make me
stuff.
nervous when you throw bottles around. I watch your shorts. I'm just like, oh, he's gonna sling it across the screen one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel
Yes.
like I belong in I can't juggle, but I can juggle bottles, especially when I've had a few drinks as well. Then it gets really fun.
And then
Maybe
you
get
really
like
get your confidence high.
familiar. Charles Legion has some 291, but I don't know if that's bottle. Yeah, it probably is in that bottle. I don't think they send that outside of Colorado, but it's awesome to hear places in
Yeah.
Kentucky 291. I
Yeah.
think. Go ahead.
Legion is one of our local stores. They're kind of on the opposite end of town for me. I don't typically end up there, but I'll have to go check them out if they've got some of those products for sure.
Yeah, like I said, it's a little bit of an outlay. At that price, it probably is going to
Mhm.
cost you $100, not for that ball, but for whatever they have, so you might have to just bite the bullet on that, or I can just send you more samples, that's the other way to do it,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah,
Maybe
absolutely.
do a bottle swap or something.
Okay.
So good.
Well, we should probably close this thing out for tonight, and then I actually would like to make a challenge to you on our next live that we'll be doing. Barrel proof only. Everything has to be above 120 proof.
Okay, so 60% ABV plus. ABV plus barrel proof. So are we thinking doing thinking about doing another blind for that then? I feel like you already have earmarked some bottles already.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about this one for probably 2 weeks because I was like, you know what? After the live, I'll bring this up to him because I think that I've got something in my pocket that I believe that when you try it, you're gonna be like, what in the world is this? And I kind of think you'll get the distillery, but I don't think you're going to get the bottle correct from that distillery.
No, I think that we can maybe give that a go. Like I said, I've surprised myself with some of these distillery guesses. Normally the ABV I'm a little bit better on, but barrel proof whiskey can sometimes throw me for a loop. Like I said, I generally live in the 50 to 55% ABV range. It takes a special whiskey to kind of take me above that usually. So if there's one way to kind of throw me for a loop, it's definitely like the higher ABV stuff. I think I just generally like to just have a few drinks over the course of the night and just not get like game over after like 2 pours, because you're drinking like hazmat stuff. I had some wild. We were talking about hazmat stags only earlier on. I have this guy. This is Argonaut pick here in Denver. This is 70.5% ABV. This is a good one that I have. One of my more rarer stags. That's the hazmat stuff. And I have another store pick that is 69.7, which is up there as well, but nothing else that's like the stag hazmat. I need to crack that bottle open because it sounds like the stag hazmats are pretty crazy.
Yes, you'll probably be on like an insane hunt for the stag hazmats for the rest of your life. The two that I've got to try, the vanilla on it came through so strong above and beyond any of the other stags that I've had, which absolutely was what I was looking for in it.
Yeah, man, these got absolutely wild. Like the store picks that I have had, that haven't been hazmat. It just takes Stag Junior to a whole like another level as well. Like you already have this like incredibly tasty fundamental whiskey of like from Buffalo Trace, and it's just been so much more better. Which is another way that I like to talk about Buffalo Trace whiskeys in general. That if you can find a Buffalo Trace single barrel whiskey that isn't generally a single barrel, so for example like Eagle Rare or a Weller Old Proof or a Weller Antique, and it's a single barrel pick, they usually are so good because I feel like they can reserve some of those bottles to be like really special single barrel picks. Where if you have in like a single barrel Weller, whether you just used in single barrels all and all again, they're not going to hold as many of those single barrels back for the single barrel picks, which I think is what's really cool.
And talking about drinking the higher proof stuff, honestly, after I do a warm up, I pretty much stay in the 125 to 140 mark, especially when I'm off work and I can sleep in the next day. And then my boy Aaron in here, we do some chug challenges of some insanely high stuff on our local group and post those. So like some 135 proof, the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof Rise, 135 proof chugs. Yeah, I'm going to have to calm down on those. Those are ridiculous.
Yes, man, your kidneys will not thank you that, I'm sure of, I don't know what the highest ABV I have here. I think it's like 72, 73. I have some Copper Sky stuff, which is like light whiskey, like kind of like Obtanium stuff that they used to have. So it's like the same distillate. I thought I had a higher one, but like a 150 maybe floating around here somewhere.
Have you had the Traveler's exclusive of the Wild Turkey rare breed?
I've not. When you say Traveler's exclusive, what do you mean by that?
It's the non-chill filtered rare breed. It is ridiculous. I'll have to send you some. You will not ever think of Rare Breed the same way again. It's next level. Like if you've had the Russell single barrels that's
Hmm.
non-chill filtered, this is a level way above it. The
Really.
oiliness and just the mouthfeel in general, it just blows your brain. It's crazy.
Like those squeezing, like twisting a tree in your mouth, and you're just getting all that sap. But
Yes,
yeah,
it's
I have quite a few of these Russell single barrel picks, and they're pretty good. So if you're saying that this is one step above that, then look out,
yeah.
Fred.
Yeah, you definitely have to try that. Maybe we should try to do like a wild turkey blonde at some point. I think that would be kind of good because, I mean, just the amount of stuff that Wild Turkey's putting out is just crazy, anyways.
Man, I'll be honest, I haven't got an insane amount of wild turkey stuff, if I'm completely honest. Uh,
That might be
that's
what I need
probably
to
the
send.
that's probably a distillery that I have only ripped off the band-aid of them. Like you see, I have a lot of Russells. I actually prefer the Russell stuff more than Wild Turkey.
Hmm.
Like I'd give me a Russell single barrel over Rare Breed any day, you know. And the Russell 13s I love, and I need and there's man, the Russell single rickhouses. The prices are obviously crazy for
Yes.
300, 350, which is sad. I wish that they wouldn't do that. That's only because it's such a good bottle of whiskey, you know. Yeah, I'm nursing that one I have up there. I have like a half a bottle left, so not much of that one left, you know.
Yeah. I'm actually going to be rebarreling Wild Turkey 101. I'm going to get another barrel from Cooperage and rebarrel it and let it run for 6 to 8 months and see if I can proof it up a little bit and get some more age on it and kind of turn it into maybe a like a in between a 101 and the single rick house. That's kind of the direction that I think it'll be.
That would be pretty cool, man. If you can, do you think you'd lose much proof in that time limit?
Um, as long as I can make sure that I do it soon and get the heat that I need to get the proof up. Like right now, I have my early times barrel going right now, and it's proof down from 100 down to 91. But it's starting to heat up here in Kentucky. So over the next probably 60 days, I expect the proof to come up, and I would like to pull it out around 110. And I need to make sure that you get a sample of that because when you try this, you will not know that it's early times. You'll think you're drinking a $500 bottle of craziness. It is insane.
How long has it been in there for?
September of last year.
So while when are you thinking about pulling it?
I'm gonna keep testing the ABV. So I test the ABV about every 30 days. Check the
Yeah.
ambient temperature. I'm keeping a very diligent log of everything so I can reproduce as close as I can to the same thing when I do it a second time. But
Yeah.
as long as the heat comes up here in Kentucky and we can get those 80s, so my area that's stored in should be over 100 degrees, I'm definitely going to be able to possibly get it to that 110 proof. But within 60 to 90 days, I think I should be able to pull it out of the barrel.
Yeah, I think that you know you might also lose. I'm sure you're expecting to lose some angel share as well when it gets a little hotter, but
Yes.
that needs to happen for you to get the ABV up, all right?
Right. Yeah. Based off what I've seen in the barrel right now, I think I've lost about 3 liters. So out of the
Well,
6.7 gallons that was in it, I've lost about 3 liters.
well, that's not terrible, I guess. You know, what I'm saying they're all liter bottles, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think you
And
picked that. I think you picked a great whiskey as well to do that project with, like such a good bottle of whiskey.
a little interesting fact about it, a store that I deal with in Tampa, Florida, I went in, talked to the guy. He's like, hey, they sent me this single barrel early times. I'm like, aren't they blends? He's like, apparently
Yeah.
not. And they sent him a one of one in between the purchase from Sazerac. I don't know, but I can tell you from drinking those versus some of the other ones, there is a massive difference between
Mm.
those and everything else. It blows all the black tops that I've ever had out of the water and all the new modern blue screw tops. It's something totally different. Like if you put the black top, a modern blue screw top, and that in a lineup, you will pick it out every time as the premium whiskey.
Do you think that that's the direction they're going to try and go in with that brand then, make it a single barrel?
I believe so. I
Like
believe
single
so.
barrel bald and bond bourbon, because they basically do it with like all of this stuff, right? They love
Yes.
offering single barrel picks. Like that's kind of a lot of what they do, like across the board. Even different brands, whether that's like John J. Bowman, 1792, even the Sazerac Rye, they do a bunch of single barrel picks with,
Yes. And,
which
and
is
we've
pretty
just started
cool.
seeing the single barrel Blanton's Gold start popping up in our area too.
Yeah, that's started popping up in this area as well. There's been a few raffles around here, which is
Mhm.
pretty cool. Like it's quite expensive. I think it's like 160, 170. I
Ooh,
have one.
no.
It's not a pick. How much is it around by you?
I saw it for 109.
Really, Jesus. Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
like coming back from Florida, I just actually got this. Ended up with two of them, one for 140 and the other one for 150.
Yeah. In Florida,
Yeah, in Florida.
I don't hate
Actually,
that at all, man.
in the Keys. I didn't expect to find anything in the Keys, but I was down on
Mhm.
Big Pine Key, walked into a store, and I was just buying actually a handle of 101. And the guy was like, "You want a Blanton's?" I was like, "No, I appreciate the offer though. It's not one that I typically like." I said, "If it's like a Blanton's Gold or straight from the barrel, I'd be interested." And then he pulled that out and slammed it on the counter. I was like, "Sold."
There you go. Don't like a gift horse in the mouth. Like, yeah, I hopefully they'll come to Colorado soon. But like we here, Colorado seem to have like about a $25 premium. I feel like on a lot of stuff. So
Mhm.
I guess time will tell on that one. But I need to get into my Blanton's Gold. I hear that's good. But I hear the straight from the barrels or something like super special and like really, really, really good.
Have you not had it yet?
Straight from barrel. No, like I said, it's mainly been like an overseas exclusive, right?
Yeah, I'll take care of you on that. I'll make sure you get some. I'm about to do a review of it, anyways.
Mm. Yeah, I look forward to seeing that review then. I'll wait for the review to pop up to see if I need it or not.
Oh, you'll need it. Like if you like Blanton's even 1%, you're gonna love this. This is everything that like a regular Blanton's wishes that it was. The
Yeah,
mouthfeel is
sure.
second to none, and I truly wish that we could get like a BTAC version of it. But obviously, Blanton's is not owned by Sazerac, so we're never gonna see that.
Yeah, it would be interesting if they could do like a 15-year version, like kind of like William LaRuelle, like because it's like 15 years then for a BTAC. Like they don't need to add more things to the BTAC lineup because they're already hard enough to find this.
Right, and then they announced the Weller Millennium is coming out, which I just don't even want to know how much that's going to cost.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're pushing the Weller lineup so much, but I guess it kind of sells itself, right? It's anything you stick the Weller label on is just gonna fly off shelves and stuff. Because the ammo wheats, right? That's all as
Yes.
unobtainium and stuff at this point, right? Can't
Yeah.
find that anywhere.
Skip looking for Daniel Weller. Get that.
Mm. Old
And
ammo.
yeah, and let's just go ahead and say this: there's only one distillery in Kentucky that uses emmer wheat, and this says Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Where do you think they sourced it from?
You think they get it from there?
Absolutely, no doubt.
What is that distillery?
This is actually a brand from Total Wine, the Old Emmer Cask Strength. This is 59.5%. This is insane. We bought it, and clearly it didn't hardly do very well. And to be honest, let me tell you how much I enjoyed it.
It's got everything on standby, right, baby?
Yeah, so I made sure I brought some back with me, but they're in
Um,
Total Wine. I just don't have a Total Wine anywhere close to me. Like
yeah,
I'd have to travel like 100+ miles to get to a Total Wine. And when I was there, I was like, yeah, I have got to have that. So I grabbed this, and it is so freaking good. If you've never
what was
had anything that's Emmer wheat, holy moly.
what was the MSRP on it?
45.
Damn.
Yeah, this holy smokes, buddy.
So you think it's Buffalo Trace?
Absolutely. And
I
I'm
didn't
going
know. I
to
didn't know you can even source from Buffalo. Is it Sazerac by any chance on the back of the thing? And then do
no,
Saz?
what I'm going to do, I have the DSP catalog, so I'm going to go through it and cross reference because a lot of the Buffalo Trace stuff that gets sourced out of
Yeah.
them use this same specific address, which is the empty building on Whiskey Row in Louisville. So if this DSP matches that address, it's them.
Interesting to know. Yeah, I have a lot of Total Wines by me, so is it worth? You're saying it's worth picking up a bottle then?
How about 4?
or 2.
Yeah.
Well, man, I think we were going to talk a little bit more about getting into bourbon, but we can shelve that for the time being if you want to, or talk about it. It's up to you.
I'm good with anything. Whatever you have time for, bud.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Like I said, I have tomorrow off. But I think for me, getting into kind of whiskey was a little bit of a different path, I guess, than most, because coming from like the motherland of Scotch and Irish things just kind of flooded. It was 2 American whiskeys that I had a choice of growing up. So, and they were as follows. One is a bourbon and one is not technically a bourbon, but it's also a bourbon. That's Jack Daniel's Old Number 7, because that's just everywhere, right? And then the other was Jim Beam White Label, and they were the only 2 bourbon options. Actually, Evan Williams Black Label came a little later, but that was seen as like an off-label version of Jim Beam, so people tend to not drink that. So I was basically my education, and you have to remember in the UK you can start drinking at the age of 18 legally. So I was drinking Jim Beam at a good age, and I thought that was what American bourbon was, and I was happy with it. I was very happy drinking Jim Beam, whether that was with Coke on ice or neat, loved it. And then I moved to the US about 10 years ago, and then we went out with some friends, and people were doing shots. And they were like, "Oh, do you want like a shot of vodka or a shot of tequila?" I was like, "I don't drink that stuff. Just get me a shot of whiskey." And they got me a shot of whiskey. We shooted everything together. And I was like, wow, what is in this glass? Like, I've never tasted anything that's as good as this bourbon in this glass. And it turned out to be Buffalo Trace. And 10 years later, I haven't looked back since, That was the first.
Now we're alcoholics.
Yeah. That was like the first experience I had of what bourbon could be outside of just like labeled stuff. So getting into bourbon was just when I was younger. I wanted to kind of be a little bit more. I wanted to try something that was a little niche. And like I said, my palate's a little bit more sweet. I like sweet things, so bourbon just kind of appealed to me as soon as I was drunk it. The smokiness, the peatiness of Scotch, even though I like that now, I'm a big fan of Japanese, Irish, Welsh whiskey and Scotch now. I appreciate all those palates. I feel that back then, when you're a little younger, you want to probably lean more towards sweeter things, and that's why I always like bourbon. There's such a strong bourbon community out here in the US as well. Because it is American whiskey, it's a little bit difficult to find that kind of community back home in the UK, but it's definitely growing. A lot more bourbons coming over to the UK. You don't have any of these like massive liquor stores like we do have out here. Yeah. It's more you get it from like supermarkets and stuff like that back home. And I think you can actually get like a lot of like Blantons and stuff like that back home in the UK. It's quite popular to find. Like the Blantons, different colors, whatever it is. I can't remember what it is. I think straight from the barrel and the gold is what you could usually find out there. The next time I go back, I'm just going to be on the hunt. Like, I'm just going to see.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure that I send you 2 extra suitcases. We're going to put my name on it, and we're just going to send them back.
There you go. I think Michter's is quite a lot out there as well. Like Michter's toasted barrel, toasted sour mash is quite popular out there as well. But apart from that, I think the rest of the stuff is just all flooded with Scotch whiskey. But growing up when Jim Beam and Jack Daniel's were my only choices, I'm okay with that. Jim Beam has a good affinity. In my heart, I just wish that I enjoyed Jim Beam distillate more now. I just don't like it that much anymore. I feel like Old Grandad is probably the best one I enjoy from that distillery now. I've had a Little Book Chapter 2 was good, but I think the Bookers are a little bit overpriced. And Little Book.
I don't think the Bookers delivers on that price point.
No, I don't. You're better off picking up a light Craig Barrel Proof, man, if you're looking for something like that.
Yeah.
Just better all the time, much more findable. Like. How about you? How did you get into killing yourself?
Well, so where I started was kind of very strange. I was really big into playing beer pong when I was younger, and one night we literally ran out of beer, and the only thing we had was these huge half gallons of Wild Turkey 80 proof, 81 back then, I think it was, and
Mhm.
we were just dumping it in that and treating it like it was beer, and I just kind of kept drinking that way, and then maybe 2 or 3 weeks after that, when I went into the store, um, and this is like 2006. Yeah, I believe it's 2006. Sitting by the counter, there's just like huge stacks of like all the B tax for $59, and I'm like, man, I can't afford any of this stuff. Why is this stuff so expensive? And I'm over here grabbing this handle for $12 and going and getting drunk, and then that kind of progressed, and then I picked up kind of an infinity for the Barton's flavor, like 1792. I really enjoyed that flavor profile, and it kind of stuck with me. And then there was a
Mhm.
kind of a really big gap for me around 2012. I actually stopped drinking altogether. Didn't drink anything, no beer, no nothing. And then in 2016, I started drinking again. Um, which brings me to a very, very embarrassing moment in my life. A 1792 small batch, 750, put me in the newspaper, dancing the night away with the bride's mother at a wedding reception that I crashed, and I ended up in the newspaper. The couple didn't end up in the paper. Myself and the mother did, dancing the night away. So yeah, that's kind of where it all went sideways for me, and I've just been drinking
I
ever
love it.
since.
I say, man, it's good that you're making memories from this stuff, right? You know, you're able to have
Yeah,
some
some of the
fun
memories
with
I can't even remember.
it. Pun intended. But I think that's a good thing about whiskey, man. You do have good memories. You meet some really great people. It's such a strong community in the whiskey game. Like it does give you the ability to like meet some phenomenal people. Like I've been to Kentucky a few times, and every time I've gone, like whether I'm at the hotel or at the distilleries at a bar, I'm just meeting people and just talking bourbon, talking whiskey, and it's just constantly like everybody's just like enjoying a good atmosphere. There's no like hard feelings around whiskey for the most part. Like, you know,
Mhm.
obviously the price and the scarcity of some balls and how hard and allocated it can be. But if you're just hanging out, it's just a really great time. Like, you know, hanging out with a cigar, hanging out with a glass of whiskey, like what we're doing tonight. It is what it is. You know, it's fun times and great community indeed. Like,
Yeah, myself, like for whiskey, I love traveling and finding local things that we don't have. Like this past trip when I was in Florida, I know that I'll live in the Kentucky area, and everyone's like, oh, you have it great. But we probably have it worse than anyone else because everyone in the world comes here to hunt our stores.
yeah.
So not only do we have to compete with the locals, we have to compete with the millions of people, literally millions of people that come here to hunt. So it's
Mhm.
very, very difficult for us to find anything. And while I was in Florida this time, you would think that these would be easy to find. In Kentucky, I've been searching for years to get my hands on one of these, and I go into a random Florida store and they just have them by the freaking cases setting everywhere. Nobody buying them. And one of the locals saw me packing four of them around, and he was like, "Oh, you really like those?" I'm like, "No, I've never got to have one." He's like, "Where are you from?" I told him Kentucky, and he was just like, "Well, that's weird." No, it's weird that you guys have them and we don't. But yeah,
Mhm.
and we got into this crazy story about the store owner, the two owners, I guess, really big into bourbon and whiskey, and they do like a monthly email club. If you get the email, you get an allocated bottle at MSRP. And he was saying that they were picking up like rip ends for $79, $80. Everything was just dirt cheaper, and they really, really like support their local community and make sure that there are people that support that store gets good products.
That's good. That's the way it should be as well. Like, you know, supporting the people who are going to be buying the 9 till 5, who are going to be buying like on the regular, like stuff from me. And I feel like in Colorado, we don't do enough of that at stores. Like, I feel
Mhm.
like the stores here don't. do good enough at looking after like the regular people that come in, and maybe not always will buy whiskey. Maybe they'll just pick up a suitcase of beers as well, some mixers and stuff like that. I feel like they just kind of standardize everything, and they just do like random drops and stuff like that. That doesn't benefit loyal customers. Like, it's just anybody can just come in and grab stuff, which is, I think if you can do a cool mix of things,
Mhm.
but I feel like that's something that we could definitely do better with. What I'm hearing you say is that going down to Florida is a pretty good hunting spot. Isn't like a lot of this stuff like higher end stuff like lottery or something like that? Then it's like sort of like a lottery
So
vault or
they
something
have
like
an ABC stores there. Then they have independent stores, and then you have American-owned independent stores. And if you can find those, or like Winn-Dixie, what's the other one there? Walgreens is huge into getting like high-end stuff. Like they get in like lots of Pappies, lots of BTAC stuff, and they just sit in the back because none of their customers purchase it. Well, if you go to extremely far South Florida, no one drinks bourbon. It's all tequila and rum. So all the high-end stuff just sits on the shelf. Nobody buys it. And like these straight from the barrels that I got, they've been sitting there for weeks and weeks. I think he said 6 weeks that had been sitting there, and not one single person showed any interest in that bottle at all. And I just happened to be like, yes, I'm very interested. Please hand me that bottle carefully.
Yeah, and then a good price as well. They're totally gouging, like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that bottle here in Kentucky is like $400.
Yeah. I did a bit of hunting when I was in Kentucky. I think I didn't find anything special. Just like run-of-the-mill Taylor small batch, a couple of good distillery bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Old Forester Bottled and Bond stump, like pints that they released not so long ago. Michter's, this guy up here was able to get.
Oh, yeah.
For your own, like. Season. And then like Pocket Heritage, the Orange Curacao, they had that available for me to buy after doing a tour of Heavenhill, which is pretty sweet. And then just I think Taylor Small Batch from Buffalo Trace Distillery. So anytime I'm down in Kentucky, I always try doing the distillery tours just because like I just love them, and I just love hearing them talk. Being in like Maker's Mark was phenomenal. I love doing that distillery tour. That's such a fun distillery tour to do. I just wish they had better like private single barrel buying options because they didn't have any when I was there. Old Forester's a great one as well. Really, really good. Like
have you done the Evan Williams tour?
The Evan Williams one in Louisville. Yeah, I did do that. The Evan Williams experience.
Did you ask at the end for the tour? They offer you the Japanese release 12-year Evan Williams there, the red label.
Yeah, I sold my shoulder that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's more pricey than I thought it would be. I think it's like 130, 140. But I think in Japan it's like fucking $60 or something like.
Now.
How much are they?
$175.
Maybe I paid more than that then. This was last year. This is 101 age 12 years. I also bought the Masters blend as well. So I tried that and I thought that was really good. I really enjoyed that. And like I said, I'm a big Evan Williams fan. So any chance I get to buy it and a special release Evan Williams, I'm definitely going to pick that up. So I do need to get into them. I'm planning to go back to Kentucky probably midsummer this year. So I just love when it gets hot there. So I can really burn myself to death like with the humidity. So I think I haven't done Wild Turkey, I haven't done Four Roses. So those are the two distilleries I definitely want to hit up, like because they seem to be closed on Monday and Tuesdays, and I always seem to get into town earlier in the week.
Yes, that's me. I'm always up there on a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Yeah. So it doesn't make too much sense, like, to be able to do the rest of the tours and whatnot. But
it's very difficult for me with the time that I have off to go up there and be able to get in line and do stuff. Like I can usually hit like the Heaven Hill pretty easy. That one's the closest one of the major legacies that is close to me. I can be at Green River, but they don't really have any special releases there. Like I can just go to any old liquor barn and grab their releases, and they're pretty much always there.
What about Lux Row? Do they have any special releases down there?
We'll have like I think Blood Oath will pop up every once in a while, but it's not really one of the bottles that I really go after.
Yeah, normally I don't own any Blood Oath. I did a Blood Oath video, but they were all bottles. So I had from one of my friends who lent them to me. but maybe Willet, I think, is around that area, right?
Yeah, they actually dropped a couple times this. I think it was early this year, and then right at the end of last year, they dropped some purple tops in the gift shop. But it's so freaking hard to justify the price to pay for a Willet. Like they're
Yeah, they've gone
good.
so expensive, haven't they? They're
Yeah.
crazy. Probably like $300, I think, for like a 9 or 10 year, right?
I can buy these for $100, and this is Willet juice in this. So why am I going to pay another 300 on top of that to get something that's almost identical?
I haven't had much Willet actually. I've only ever almost primarily drunk the Rise. I've had a purple top, but I just like the green label, the green top Rise. Like get the ones that are like 55% ABV or above, and that's kind of like one of
Mhm.
my go-to. If I would just want a rye, I want a classic rye. I want something that's good. That's the staple that I have so much, and I keep banging the drum that if you can get the 55% ABV ones and above,
Yeah. I don't
that's some
think
good.
I've seen any of the higher ABV ones, but then again, that's not something that I go look for specifically is the Willet Rise, but they're just setting everywhere and I just bypass them. And like
Yeah.
I see people online just like paying an arm and a leg and searching day in and day out for those. And I'm like, just come buy them all here. We have them everywhere. Please take them away.
Yeah, we've seen them more in Colorado now, but like they're like the cheapest I've seen are like $80. It seems just like the MSRP here is just a lot more expensive. So usually, if I go traveling, I do travel quite a bit. I find them for like $50 or so. Like I
Mhm.
won't pay more than $50 for them. Kansas actually have them. There's a store I stop every time I go through Kansas. I stop at this one store because they always usually have them, and they just mark them up to $55. I'm not sure I'm willing to pay that much for them. Like because I'd rather just have like Pikesville or something like that instead.
Yeah. I
Because I
think
think that's
the last one
price
that I
wise.
saw at my local store was like 53, $54.
53, 54. I was in Louisiana 2 years ago, and I went to this like dusty store in the middle of nowhere, and they had like shelves of that stuff, and it was like $39. So I just brought back six, like just because they never changed the price, like because they just didn't sell any. So that was the initial price that they had got it for, like, which is fun. I love going to those stores.
Louisiana is a untapped jewel for the bourbon market. I was there. We went to Barataria, which is south of New Orleans, like out in the middle of the swamp. Got an Airbnb out there. Kind of did some random bourbon hunting, and I was finding some I got an Evan Williams from the 80s still on the shelf, just chilling. I think I paid like $11.59 for this bottle. I've got it in the other room. It was just chilling there, and they had them just everywhere. And I had to wipe the dust off of it. And the guy was like, I can't even hardly read the price because it's so dusty. It's been
It's
there.
funny to say that because these are the two balls that I got when I was down in Louisiana as well. I got these two handles.
Oh yeah, the
I
old
got the
Forest
old
Diamond label.
label, the old label Jim Beam for 35.99, and I got this guy. I got this was just like thrown on the shelf, like just like down there, rolling around with some other random stuff. And this was really cheap as well. This is like I don't know when they stopped making this label, but I was like I haven't seen these bottles for ages, so I just picked them up for like retail. But like, yeah, if you're looking for like older bottles and you're willing to travel to Buttfuck, Louisiana, I think you can get some really good old
Yes.
stuff. Like
Yeah, and here's how you know if you're in the right store. When you go in and you say hello, and then whatever ridiculous dialect that they're trying to speak there, and you have no clue, and you're like getting your phone out and holding it up for Google Translate, and the Google Translate just says, WTF, you're in the right store. Like if you spend enough time talking to that crab trapper, he's going to pull out some bottles that has been sitting there since Jimmy Carter was in the office.
they just have them chilling in the back, like because they haven't got the shelf space
Yeah,
because
it's
it's all
like
taken up by all moonshine.
yeah, it's right by the shrimp pots and the crab pots and stuff. Just push those to the side. We got all the old stuff.
That
Yeah,
was the Doc Swinsons that I had.
oh yeah.
I'm gonna go into the bottle number D that you sent me, which was that Hirsch.
Oh yeah, that Hirsch, man, it's so good. Actually, let me tell you an interesting story about that specific bottle. We went into Lexington to do kind of like a little bourbon hunting and meet up with a friend. Well, they had it on the shelf in their tasting bar, so I was like, you know what? Let me see if I can get them to let me hold the bottle for a moment. So I flipped my phone around, did like a little TikTok review of it, and I was like, dang, this is really good. And I started hunting the store all over, and I found 3 bottles of it tucked away in the bottom shelf. I bought 2 and then went back a few weeks later, and the other one was gone. It was so good. I had to buy that 3rd one, but it was already gone.
Yeah, I can see why, man. Definitely a lot more, but like, you know.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get kicked out of these liquor barns because they've been so good to me of finding like really good products. Like I don't want to be on their permanent ban list for trying to do bourbon reviews in their foyer.
I mean, I love going out to stores and doing stuff. I've never asked for permission. There's one store. I live next to the biggest liquor store in the world by square feet, so I'm really close there.
Mm-hmm.
I know the owner's son, and he's cool with me doing videos. Like, but I still don't tell him I'm doing a video, and I probably will do another one there soon, just because it's like a fun place to do a video because there's just so much there. They have like 50 different single barrels. I feel like right now, at least 50 different single barrels. Some of it is like local craft stuff, and then some of it is all over the place as well. But there is a big bourbon community in Colorado, and we have big liquor stores. So if you're willing to line up for a few hours, you can get the bottle you want. It's just, is it worth lining up 3 hours to get a well full proof? You know, only individuals can answer that. But they have really good offerings there. So that's a really good spot I like to go to for some of my whiskeys. I do like to do the Costco videos as well. That's a fun one because people just like to watch Costco videos in general. And they like to want to know.
I love watching them. I hope that I see some Karen in the background dropping like some dirty looks at you. That's every time I see a Costco video, like I make sure that it's a point that as soon as it posts, I pull out my phone, I watch that. I'm like, all right, where's this Karen? I got to see Karen. And like, I always see you kind of like eyeing and like watching customers, I guess.
Yeah. That's it. On the sketch, like, I go Cove. I think what I might transition to do is just drag my wife and just have her film me instead of me doing like FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
Hunting fruit, Colorado. I have actually tried hunting fruit. There's one store in Fruitia called Jack's Liquor, and he has a tendency of gets a few different bottles there. Like he has a lot of the Redwood Empire new releases, so like the wheated bourbon they brought out. There's a store there. He also has some other stuff, some Old Grandad, which you can find in most places. But generally, when I go through, I buy some bottles from that guy. He charges more for like some of his allocated stuff is just ridiculously priced. But the stuff that he doesn't know, it should be more allocated. You can get for a good price, like, you know. Like if you're someone who likes to drink like 1792 bottled in bond, Buffalo Trace single barrel picks, he has a lot of that for like MSRP, which is good. So I always stop there along the I-70 as I'm coming back to Colorado. So I like to go to High West quite a lot and Salt Lake City. It's about a 7-8 hour drive. Utah's a terrible place to go to go hunting. There you go. You know exactly what I'm talking about then. Yeah, that's the only store in Fruita I think worth hunting. But it's kind of like, how much patience does my wife have when we're doing a road trip? You know, it's a fine balance. Maybe you can speak a little bit to that as well, Charles. You know, so it's just like usually what I'll do.
My wife loves hunting.
Yeah, there you go. But I love. There's nothing I like. You know, going out to a couple of different stores, speaking to people out in different states and stuff, learning about kind of like their whiskey culture in that area. And seeing what they're saying about different stuff and finding good bottles as well, man. It makes a fun trip. As a whiskey enthusiast, it makes an already exciting trip even more exciting, which I'm sure will happen to you when you were down in Florida.
Yes. Patrick, keep them entertained for a moment. I'm going to run to the restroom.
Definitely, my man. Yeah, and the store, I think there's a couple of other stores in Grand Junction that people stop at. I've tried a couple ones, but it's all about timing with a lot of these stores, but that Jack's Liquor in Fruita is definitely worth stopping every time. That's just off of the I-70 Western Slope in Colorado, which is a pretty good spot. If you're coming through into Colorado as well, Argonauts on the weekend seem to drop some good whiskey. That's in central Denver. And then you also have Applejack's there as well. But I just feel like across the board right now, whiskey is just becoming much more available than it was. Yes, like the harder Allocated stuff is always going to be hard and be able to buy all the time, and you're going to pay a good price if you want it on demand. But I feel like stuff just like the Smoke Wagon Private Barrel picks, like one of my forecasts for the year is that we'll start seeing them come more and more and time again, and we're seeing that now because they're just sitting on shelves here in Colorado. Have you seen any of the Smoke Wagon Private Barrel picks over by you, have you, Charles?
The rye, I think it was with the purple label. I've seen a couple of those pop up, but I think that's the only one that I've seen recently.
Yeah, one of my predictions at the beginning of the year was just like we're going to see a lot more of this stuff hit the shelves, like Smoke Wagon stuff, like these private barrel picks that people were paying like $1,000 or something on the secondary, and we're seeing that so much in Colorado. It just sits on shelves right now because I felt like it was like a 6-7 year MVP whiskey at the end of the day, and it's like $100. So the one I bought actually recently, it was good. I paid $90 for it pre-tax, so about 100 out the door. It was good, like, but it's like it's still $100 for like 6-year MVP. You know, it's like you can buy a lot more cheaper stuff for that. You know, like Doc Swinton's do like the straight bourbon whiskey, which is about the same ABV and about the same age, and that's like $40. Kind of being found out a little bit, like, you
know. Have you got into this yet?
Doc Holiday. Yeah, so I've seen that bottle a few times, but I've taken a little bit of a different direction. Usually, if there's like a new bottle I'm thinking about getting, in my mind, I have a few bottles I'm thinking about trying to get. So I just kind of pull one of those every now and again. And sometimes by pulling one of those bottles and then drinking that bottle, that takes you in a completely different direction. So what's happened to me lately is I had a bunch of different whiskeys I was going to try and buy. And I bought, the first two bottles that I bought was Doc Swinton and Still Austin. And from those two bottles, I've just gone down a rabbit hole with them. So I haven't had time for all this other stuff up here. I've just completely rabbit holed with that stuff because it's just been so good.
Direction.
Yeah, it's because they just have so good. I need to know more about this whiskey. Like I need to know more stuff about it. And like these companies are bringing out like, especially Doc Swinton's, their like sales model is that they'll do like one release, and then as soon as that's done, it's done, so to speak. Like you have to kind of sit on there as best you can. But I haven't tried that Doc Hall. Is it good? That's off Red Winter Wheat.
Yes, it is very good, and it is unusually dusty for the age that it is. It really drinks older than what it is. Like I think it's like 6 years old or something like that, but it drinks more like 8 to 10. But it gives you like this really interesting, dusty, dank basement-iness to it. Like if you enjoy that kind of profile, you will absolutely love it. This is one that I wanted to send you, but it didn't fit the price category. And this is a Southern Star Paragon single barrel cask strength. This is the Weller killer. If you have not had this, you need to make sure that you get your hands on this. I don't know their distribution is very big at all.
Yeah, I've never seen that bottle at all.
109.7 proof. This whips a Weller 107 every single time. It doesn't even like there's no contest. Like Weller's way over here, and it's way the hell up here. It's unbelievable.
How does it stack up to Maker's Mark?
Yeah, it beats Makers every time for me too.
I think so. Yeah. Well, man, it's funny you should say Weller Antique because that's probably my favorite Weller.
Mine
the
too.
12. But have you tried the Salarays Makers?
No, I haven't got my hands on it. I've every time that I try to get like a booking for their tour, it's gone in 4 or 5 seconds. I missed out on that Old Forester 150th. Like, I was so sad. A friend of mine got in. The wife was in. She had 2 positions. She realized it was $5,000 for the 2 spots. She calls me. We think about it for like 30 seconds, and then they're gone.
Jesus, yeah, that's mental. I don't know. Like, I've never been able to get some of that super rare Old Forester stuff.
Hmm.
Like the 150th, the birthday bourbon, the presidential. It very seldomly comes to Colorado, King, Kentucky, and whatnot. But I feel like with a lot of the whiskey that they put out, if you're able to get it, that's really good. But the sour aged Maker's Mark, man, that takes already what is a phenomenal based on Maker's Mark is across the board,
Hmm.
elevates
Next
it so
level.
much more. Yeah,
Wow.
it is the age obviously plays a massive part on that. And I have a bottle up here. I haven't drunk much of it as well because I'm kind of scared. I don't know if it's going to come back in another release, but I feel like with the success of this bottle, I feel like it has to. And I was fortunate actually because I have a lot of friends who drink different liquor around this way. And I was able to buy a Fortaleza Anejo, and I don't. I like mezcal and I like some tequila, sometimes margarita cocktails, but I'm gonna switch it out for bourbon if I can, you know. And my friend
Yeah.
had the Maker's Mark sour aged, and he's like, and I was like, yeah, he told me if I could find a Fortaleza Anejo, we would just switch it, and I was able to find it. So then that's how I managed to get that. I don't know what the MSRP is on that, but I ended up paying like 140 after paying for the Fortaleza, you know. The ghosty stag box.
Yeah. Sometimes you just get a case of them.
Hey, there you go.
Sometimes it just happens. I didn't.
You
I
wouldn't
didn't
see
see
that in
that coming.
Colorado.
Yeah. As far as stags this year, stags have just been falling off trees and landing in my whiskey collection because I ended up with 3 GTSs at crazy cheap prices, and then I think I only ended up with like maybe 2 or 3 cases of Stag Juniors this year so far. And what are we in May? It's unbelievable. And
Yeah, I need to
I'm getting
take
them
a
for
trip
like
out to see you, I
$48.
think, man. I need to come out to you and you need to take me around and show me the ropes.
Yeah, next time you're here, actually, we need to figure out a way that you can be here for the big drop in Nashville, Tennessee at Main Street Liquor. Um, I went last year, insane. There's so many,
Yeah,
literally thousands of people show up for this thing.
Jesus. I'm
It
sure it's
was
like days people stay there. Like,
no, you can only show up like 24 hours before. So we got there at like 7 a.m. the day before the drop.
hmm
I was like 10th and 11th. My wife and I were 10th and 11th
yeah,
in line. And what's interesting about the way they do it, so all of their extremely allocated stuff, like all their B tax and pappies and stuff, when you purchase one of their store picks, you get entered into a raffle that concludes at the end of the day, and then they draw your name and then call you and you come in and buy it. But what's insane is no one seems to be coming to pick up their bottles. So it gets left over to the next year. So, like the first
yeah,
20, 30, 40, 50 people that walk in there are getting B tax and Pappy, and then everything else is left for us. But, like, um, being 10th in line, I passed on so much stuff. Like, there was insane amounts of stuff. And the only thing I wanted was E.H. Taylor barrel proof. The wife and I
yeah.
both got one. I was very happy. It was like $100. I was very happy paying $100 for those. They're so good.
You know, you not see them run by you?
No,
No,
never. Like,
really?
yeah, we can get small batch by the cases, but a single barrel or a barrel proof, no. You
Because
may see one once a year, and it's like 300, $400.
single barrels we get quite a lot. Actually, a lot of single barrel picks here in Colorado. They drop quite a decent amount. But the barrel proof, it does drop from time to time. I've never been able. It always seems to drop when I'm out of town. That's that's happened 3 times. It always seems to drop when it's out of town. And because we have like big box liquor stores, we have like 6 big liquor stores here in Colorado, and they see when one drops, you kind of know that it's
Mm.
going to hit other stores. You can kind of play the system a little bit that way. Hey, what's going on, West Ham 101? Nice to see you, my man. You're able then to like, okay, I know this is going to have it. So if I kind of go and talk to them or I go and hang out or wait for their allocation drop down, I know that I'm going to hit it, which is pretty cool. Like, so, but I've yet to still get, I have the rye. You ever get the rye?
Yeah, we get the rise.
That seems to have dried up a lot now with the straight rye. Like, I don't see that hardly anywhere, which is, I got that like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So I was fortunate with that. Uh, but yeah, like you said, small batch for days. Single
Yeah.
barrels do a lot of the single barrel picks, which is pretty awesome as well.
It's almost impossible to get a single barrel pick here in Kentucky unless you get it
Yeah,
from Kroger or from Liquor Barn. And the times in which they drop at those two locations are next to impossible for me to ever get to. It's always on like a Thursday, it feels like, and it's 2 p.m. and I'm at work and I travel for work. So I'm like in
yeah.
Ohio or some random ass place in the middle of nowhere. Like I'm in the armpit of America and they're like, oh, look, it's hit. And then I'm like, well, I'm 900 miles away. That's great. I can't get there.
I get it, man. How does the Kroger and like Walmart stuff work out there? Is it like people actually involved in those supermarkets that know how the whiskey game works, or do they just throw it out?
It just comes in on the truck, goes immediately on the shelf, and right out the door. So, depending on which Walmart locations that you go to, sometimes that there's going to be a line. The ones that are closest to me,
Oh yeah,
there's like a little bit of a buildup. You'll get a few people showing up. Some of my friends in California, they just walk in at random times and there's just literally cases and cases and cases of stuff. Like one of the guys sent me a picture and he walked in, there was 17 cases of stag sitting there and he bought four.
yeah. I had good success in California. Uh, you're not gonna find success in like LA,
Mm-hmm.
downtown LA, unless you maybe hit the grocery stores and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like San Diego seems to be the same as well. But when I hit up like some of like the rural towns around the LA area, that's when
Yes.
I got a lot of success. Like I found like this was like 7 months ago. I found like a bunch of like Elijah Craig D520, which
Mm.
is like it's not necessarily an allocated whiskey, but like it's very hot. You can't get it anymore, and people
Yeah.
love it as well. That was a popular bottle. I got Blood Oath Pack 5. I got two of those for like $100 each, which again, like some older stuff that you're able to find. Maybe they marked up the price when they initially put it on the shelf, but the
Yeah.
way that everything has just gone up in price, it actually works out that it's quite cheap. I was able to find a few tailors as well, and then some John J. Bowman single barrels. Which, if you're looking for John J. Bowman single barrels, you're ever in the Phoenix area, you can find them quite a lot for $50,
Hmm.
like sitting on shelf. Quite nice. So yeah,
Wow.
like,
Yeah, I used to
yeah.
actually live in Riverside, California, just a suburb of LA, and I wasn't drinking then, and I didn't hunt or anything. Like, the only thing I hunted for was like sushi buffets.
Is that like close to San Bernardino, right? Down towards that
um,
area, is it?
so it is basically where the I-10 and 15 cross. Like, there's the
Yeah.
Ontario Mills Mall area there. That's basically where it was at. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, California's a pretty good place to hunt in liquor. Like I hit up a bunch of Costco's while I was there. I didn't get lucky with the Costco's because I constantly see people taking like these obscene pictures. They're picking up like wild, cheap whiskey, good whiskey at Costco's out there. And I
yeah.
don't think there's much of a whiskey market out there as well.
Oh
There
no.
probably is, but it's just a big state.
Have you seen the Facebook group for Costco for California? SoCal's got a Costco group, and they post in it almost every single day where stuff is at. I don't know how in the hell they know. I'm guessing they sleep in Costco in like the toilet paper section because they know at like 4 a.m. it's there at the store.
Is it like specific to Costco to SoCal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. I'll have to check that out when I go there next. But yeah, it's half the fun, man. Going out trying to find whiskey. Having good
Mhm.
conversations with people. It's definitely like I found some good dusties. I found like an old High West in middle of Panhandle, Florida, like the $silver one sitting on the vodka aisle, which is funny. It's like old bottle that hasn't been released since like 2015, and it's clear rye, and it's. And it was just like on the next to like rum and vodka, and like no whiskey drinkers gonna like go and check that area out. So it was just like there with like a faded ass label and sticker, and it's like $29.99. It's just nuts. But those sort of finds are like really fun, just wild.
I
So yeah,
almost never find
check the
anything
vodka out.
locally. Like in Kentucky or Tennessee, it's basically a dead market for me. I don't even really hunt here. I hunt in like Indiana, Georgia, Florida, Illinois. Like it just it's so saturated with people that hunt here, and all the flippers has basically got the schedule down. They know when everything's there. I know a lot of the people know the drivers of the truck, and they get text what's at what store. So you just can't beat that. So you have to get out of your local area. And honestly, I hunt at places I have never been before. Like I just go to random ass places that has never seen me. I go in and buy like something that I'm gonna mix, show the owner that I'm purchasing something, shoot my shot, and say, hey, I'm typically not in here, but do you have anything special I should be looking for? Just ask them something along those lines, and sometimes they're just like, yeah, I got all kinds of stuff. What are you looking for? And I'll just
Yeah.
tell them something, and they're like, yep, got it. Here you go.
Yeah, sometimes people are really like shy about asking like people who work in there if they have anything like special or anything allocated. It's funny what I usually say is like, do you have anything on like whiskey allocation today or anything available? And that usually is a good catch-all if they have anything.
Yeah.
When I was in Chicago, I was there. I picked up like two new riff like bottles, they were like special release bottles, and asked the guy if they had put anything allocated out, and he said that they had Blanton's Gold earlier on, but that was being done for hours. So then I went up to like the customer service desk. This is a little sneaky, but I was like, I called earlier on and asked about Blanton's Gold, and someone said they were going to hold me a bottle back. Like, okay, I'll go grab one now too.
I gotta write that down. That is a classic right there. Oh my gosh!
If you know something was released that day, phrase it like, "Oh, I called here on you guys said you got to keep me a bottle back."
Yeah, just use a real generic name. Like David told me it was going to be here at the counter, because what David works at every store.
David and John, like the boys.
Yeah, but like I can't remember his name.
Like, yeah, I'm in here all the time, and like, yeah, and then like you go to check out, and like, do you have a loyalty number? I'm like, no.
Nope, caught me.
No, that's not what I said. But yeah, this was in Binny's, and that was a really successful trip, that one, because I had the Blanton's Gold, I had those two new riffs that I haven't seen since, and then I also managed to pick up a Stag Junior store pick that I stumbled in a Binny's on as well, which is pretty cool. So like, apparently Chicago is supposed to be pretty rough for looking for whiskey, but it was quite kind to me at that time, like, which is nice.
For me to get a Stag store pick is next to impossible. Every single release is on like a special day. Like I work on Saturdays, and they're always on Saturday mornings. I never get it. I'm not that lucky. Like maybe someday I'll be lucky enough to have some friend that is cool enough that be like, yeah, I'll just go over there and get you one. But
I think we need to trade, because I have a few Stag picks. I have this one. Have you seen that? Do you know what bottle is by chance?
It's not sticking out to me.
This is one of the rarest Stag Junior barrel picks you can ever find. This is a collaboration between, this is a single barrel pick, non-chill filtered. This is 66.7% ABV. Not many of them are actually non-chill filtered, I don't think, right? It doesn't actually say it on the label, like it says it on the label, like specifically. So this was a collaboration between Colorado 5280 whiskey. It was like a charity bottle, and it was picked by some of those folks there, and also by Fred Mimic.
Oh.
And then they stuck that label on. It was only like 50 ever sold to the public, but I was able to pick one. You had to make like a $50 donation, and then you bought the bottle for MSRP. So this is in the whiskey verse. This is known to be very rare bottle. We sell for probably. I haven't seen one. I don't secondary market, but for this show and for stuff like this, you have to observe it to kind of know where prices are, right? And I think you can probably speak to that as well.
Yeah.
But the last one I seen sold about 8 months ago, and that was like for $500. So I think it's probably like, and there's only like 150 of them. So it's probably like $1,000 bottle, I feel like, at this point. I haven't opened it yet. And it's supposed to be phenomenal, like cherries on steroids, is what I heard. But I have a good amount of it. guinea pigs.
Yeah, one of my friends, he's got some of the George Jr. The picks, the George Jr. picks. They're really cool. It has like a picture of like George T. Stagg as a child on the back of it. That's really neat.
Like a baby.
Yeah, like a baby.
That.
Yeah,
Like
with a mustache.
Jr., right?
So, like George T. Stagg was born with a mustache. Like he had to be. Like he come out with a full beard. That baby's a man.
Guy's a legend, man. Yeah, I think. But apart from that, we get some good stuff here in Colorado. But I feel like I'm at the point now where I kind of have a lot of the whiskey that I enjoy and I like. And I found a lot of stuff that I can drink daily that's not really allocated. So much like we were talking about earlier on, I like to find just like store picks is what I feel like I'm gravitating towards nowadays,
Yes.
I just like to reach for a store pick instead. Like,
oh, wait. Here we go. I've been trying to like not talk about these for years. Like I don't want people to know about them, honestly. And I'm gonna like burst everybody's bubble and put these out here. Yeah.
Barrel proof. See, they don't sell that over there. I've had the Wavin single barrel, but we can't get the barrel proof out here. Is it good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then so in the same lineup, they have the 12-year. That one's crazy. And then if like you're really lucky, you can walk into some stores and find some of the super crazy old store picks. This was barrel 4619. This was a pick. I think I don't remember what it was. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this was a 10-year pick, and these are only supposed to be like 6-year bottles, and I was getting these for like $30. It's crazy.
Is it all sourced? Because I think the old Medley 12 is like sourced and like blended in California, if I remember correctly.
So most people don't know this, but Green River Distillery was actually the Medley Distillery. Until recently, they actually produced all their stuff. So Medley, for like 70 years, was there. And then Charles Medley and his family went back to California and just continued to produce their own label. To my knowledge, it's still sourced there from their original distillery.
Isn't it contract? Like they just have like the contract name, right? Isn't it? It's just basically a name and contract distilled.
Yeah, the Charles Medley's family so it started out as the Medley Distillery, and then it become like a marine hospital during the war, and then become like they were producing like alcohol for medical purposes, and then went back after the war to produce alcohol to drink, and then fast forward 70 years, they closed down. It needed millions of dollars of restoration. Green River finally was able to take it over and turn it into what it is today. And if you've never been there, that is an amazing place. When you go to do a tour there, most of the time there's like you and maybe one other person there. I was fortunate enough I had a private tour there, and they were pulling straight from the barrel. And let me just let the cat out of the bag. The weighted that they are releasing a barrel proof cask strength single barrel weighted. My wife and I got to try it. I will never buy another weighted bottle except for that one. It's that good.
Breaking news over here, like,
Yeah.
I think
nobody knows.
Mate, I guess I need to put that down on the list for the next distillery tour when I'm down in Kentucky, right?
Yes.
That good,
Make sure you let me know when you're in here, because I can zip up there. I'm only like an hour and a half or 2 hours away from there.
So I think one of the last times I went to Kentucky was when I did a tour of 1792, because they've obviously stopped doing that now, haven't they? And that I think I booked the 8 a.m. tour because that's the only thing they had available. And I was the only one on it. And I was at the point when they were about a month away from shutting the tours down. So when I say VIP, I mean like I got to taste some pretty unique barrels that they had sitting there. I was able to taste 1792 small back from the barrel, which is pretty unique, like, That's like the best thing I can probably. It tasted nothing like foolproof. You'd think that foolproof would be 1792 small batch because the name. It
Right.
tasted nothing like it. It was like a barrel proof version of like 12 years. Maybe it was just an older barrel, a barrel proof. It could potentially have just been the aged 12 years, a barrel proof, because it's the same distance, but it was phenomenal, man.
It's probably some of the stuff that they sold off to Sam Houston when they were bottling
Maybe,
all that.
yeah. Yeah, man. Sam Houston, 14, like that from 10 up to 15.
Yeah.
Are they still coming out with stuff? Are they, Sam Houston?
No, to my knowledge, they have discontinued that line. The only thing that you can get as far as older distillate from Barton's going to be from Lucky 7 or from the Calumet line.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Calumet and Sam Houston was basically the same stuff, like, you know?
Yeah. I wish the price of the Calumet would come down because I really enjoy the 16-year tremendously. It's probably my favorite release of the Calumet. Barton's. It's amazing. Like, it is so good. We're very fortunate. There's a couple different places in Florida, specifically Gasper in Temple Terrace, Florida, which is like a suburb of Tampa. When you go into the store, it's just the most beautiful store, lit shelves. It's amazing, but they have little tags on the shelf, and you just go up to the bar and tell them, "Hey, number 27," and they pour you a free sample, so you can try basically any bottle in their building. And then every single store pick they have those available to sample as well, so you can sample. If you had the capacity, you could probably sample 100 bottles or more in their establishment and just absolutely get smashed and Uber home.
Is that's something that they just don't really do in Colorado. There's like some laws about like sampling stuff at liquor stores. It doesn't really happen that much at all. It's mostly like wine and stuff like that. But like, I wish they would do like, you know, you have these big liquor stores that have so many different single barrels. You think that they would do more sampling at their stores. Actually, something coming up for Father's Day, Argonaut Wine and Liquor, which is a whiskey store down in Denver, which is one of my favorite whiskey stores or just stores in general in the whole world because they just do a great job and they sell everything at MSRP. They do a Father's Day wheel where they have like a big circle wheel, and on each spot is like an allocated bottle, and it ranges from Eagle Rare 10-year up to like a Pappy, and you spin the wheel and whatever it lands on, you can buy that, and like the first few people or the first like 50 people get to do. Last year they got to do a sample of a Pappy 10, 12, Thomas Hardy, and Weller 12 for free. You get to have like 1 ounce of each, and then spin the wheel. The only problem is everything's on time constraints, so you end up just shooting Pappy 12 and Pappy 10. You're literally just doing shots and then you spin the wheel, and then when they run out, they run out. But like, what store does that? Like, what store gives away free samples of that? And it's just like, yeah, you know, these are samples, but you have to spin and leave in like 25 seconds. You have to shoot threes like really high. Yeah, like I'm sure they know what they're doing and they just laugh their heads off. So they do it that way. But they have like a line that goes around inside the store through the hours around. It's like 1,000 people show up this day.
Wow.
So this is a fun event. And in the years that I've done it, the first year I had Pappy 12. The second year I had an old Spitz 8, I think it was. Then the third year I had a purple Willet. And so I missed it last year because I wasn't in town. So hopefully if I'm there this year, I'm able to go a nice bottle. But they also did like a Sazerac wheel, and I was able to get a H. Taylor single barrel. They did like a charity thing at the beginning of this year, and they had like it was a Sazerac sponsored event. They had like Sazerac stuff, and I was able to get an H. Taylor single barrel, and I bought the 1792 bottles in bond as well for like $55 because they give $10 back to charity for that as well. So I bought one of those.
That's awesome.
Like, give my way, but yeah, it was so cool. They had like the master blender from Buffalo Trace in town as well. He was like signing bottles. Pretty dope event, like, you know, pretty fast.
I've got an amazing sample story to tell you.
Rolling out on the red carpet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I believe it was the day after 4th of July. I believe that's the date it was. And we were up in Louisville. We went into a random store, and like as soon as they opened, and this lady just starts pouring samples. Try this, try this, try this. And by 8 o'clock in the morning, we're blistered, just freaking like, where's the nearest Waffle House? We have got to eat. We haven't eaten. It's the most important thing in my life to eat right now because they just kept pouring stuff. And by like 8:15, I'd had like 10 samples, and we're not talking like a quarter ounce. She was pulling like ounce, ounce and a quarter, ounce and a half in every single one. And I'm like, excuse me, lady, this is barrel proof stuff. We need to slow this down. Like the lowest proof thing was like 116. We were sloshed. And my wife is not a big lady. She says she's 5 foot. She's not 5 foot. She's like, Andrew's so short. But we're going to call her 5 foot for the best.
There you
go. But yeah, she's not able to handle that much. And she's like, we need to eat now.
Yeah. Man, at 8 o'clock in the morning, man. The thing is, you're really susceptible to alcohol at that time in the morning. Only need a few drinks, and then like that sets you up for the whole day. You like feel sideways the rest of the day, right? You know, it's like
that's
the morning coffee that wakes you up. It's like the morning coffee that kind of wakes you up. Like, you know, it's the alcohol can kind of take you a little bit sideways. And to my Colorado brothers and sisters who like to dabble in the greener things in life, that can also impact you the same way, you know, when you kind of have that. So start the day, your day is not the same. Like, you know, it's as the term is that they use in Colorado, is wake and bake. Like, so
wake and bake, exactly. That's where I was about to go with that. Yeah, that's awesome. Like tomorrow's plan is to drink bourbon all day long and watch my smoker. I don't know. And Tom, if you're watching, buddy, you're not coming and eating ribs. You ate me out of house and home with ribs on our last event. I appreciate your company, but I'm eating my ribs this time. So you got to stay at home. I thank you for coming last time, but tomorrow's ribs are for me.
What's the plan for tomorrow?
I'm going to be cooking and drinking all day long, and then I'm going to rinse and repeat for Wednesday, and then I'll go back to work on Thursday if I make it.
I made not so long ago, like 2 weeks ago, I made some nice dino ribs, and I'm sure as a fellow smoker enthusiast, you would have loved them, man. They would just fall apart. Like you couldn't even cut it off the bone. You just pulled the bone out of these things, and it was just like a chunk of like point end brisket. You know, it's phenomenal, man. You know, I don't know if you've have you smoked dino ribs before?
I have not smoked them, but I typically smoke like baby back ribs. I do a little trim on them, and then baby back ribs. Like we don't like if I had to get dino ribs, I'd have to go to like a specialty meat market, and they don't do good. Like
I had to go to a Costco business center. Yeah, mine.
Oh yes. The closest one for me is Atlanta. It's like a 5.5 hour drive to get to one of those for me.
It was like $70 for a rack. So, but it was basically you're getting a brisket point end on rib. That's I thought that burnt ends were the best bite in barbecue, but these came in pretty close. Like, you know, and I love my burnt ends as well.
Oh yes. Burnt ends are so good. And then I make a Texas style bourbon brown sugar baked and smoked beans. I mean, you guys love your beans anyways, but this right here is next level. I'm telling you, like, honestly, I could just truly just make these beans. I smoke them for like 6 hours. And they are so freaking good. And most of the time when you have a baked bean, they're kind of runny. These are thick. They stick to your ribs, and you just want to keep going. It's so good.
Especially if they're not smoking for like 6 hours.
Yes.
What I like to do is I also like to I don't make them from scratch. I just use whatever the American brand is, the tall cans.
Bush's baked beans.
Yeah, so I stick the vegetarian ones. So I stick them into a aluminum foil tray, but I sling that tray under the brisket.
Oh, the drippings.
all the drippings come into it, and you don't have the mess of making the burnt end. And then also when I trim my brisket, I get the trimmings, I make them into tallow on the side, and then that reduces them down to small little bits of off-cut brisket, and then I chop them up and stick them back into the beans. But even though I take a shortcut with the hunt beans, just because I don't think the trade-off is worth it in terms of doing it from scratch and like soaking them XYZ, with the drippings, with the tallow cut-offs, I think it makes phenomenal. And it's sitting in there, like you said, it kind of comes out. You know, when you have a good scoop of beans, and like you said, coming from a British person, I know what a good scoop of beans
You
is.
guys know what
You
beans
get your
are.
you get your ladle, you scoop it up, and it doesn't fall off. Nothing
Yes,
sticks there
sticks.
because it's so
there.
it fucking
Yeah.
sticks there. It's so congealed at that point, and it's so thick. But like,
You
yeah, we have beans on everything, man. We have beans on toast. Have you ever had beans on toast before?
I have. One of my Brit friends. I'd go over to his house and we'd have that stupid ham and freaking beans on toast for breakfast. And I was like, brother, you know this is not bacon. He's like, oh yeah, it's bacon. I'm like, no, that's ham. That is country ham, son. Come on, let's go get some biscuits and gravy. Put down that freaking biscuit. Let's go.
It's real bacon is what we like to call it, right? Because bacon you guys have here is like bacon rashes is like super like streaky. It's like mostly fat, right? You know, I feel like so out there we have basically it kind of looks like ham, has like a fat around the outside and it's cut really thin, but it's basically a lot more meat there. But yeah, beans on toast. I've ever had like beans and cheese on a jacket potato or a baked potato. Have you ever tried that?
Yes.
That's up there with a few different things that I enjoy in life. They also have beans in like tacos as well. Sometimes people in the UK will put baked beans in a taco or like a burrito instead of, I guess, like refined beans or refried beans that you guys have out here. But lots of different cultures around the years use beans around the US or around the world use beans. Like I went to Costa Rica, they have like black beans and rice for breakfast with like cilantro and lime juice.
Yes.
With like some other stuff as well, like somewhere in like China as well. They also have a bunch of other different things too.
Yeah, I lived down on the border in Laredo for many years, and that's kind of a thing. Oh, look, I saw the shadow. We must be in trouble, sir. Oh.
Laugh it up.
But yeah,
no,
the black beans and cilantro, we had those down on the border.
Beans, yeah, no, man, it's when we were down in Costa Rica, we had that the first night that we were there, and it was like they had like a shredded, it wasn't even beef, it was yak. I guess probably some derivative of beef fried yak is, but they had that, and then they also had beans and rice and like cilantro, and we just had that like the whole time we were there. Like it's just good to know. My wife, you recognize her, but she was just coming down to say hello.
You know, you said yak. The first thing I thought I was like, he's probably eating woolly mammoth.
Why would I be in woolly mammoth?
I just read an article. They found like a complete intact woolly mammoth baby, and it still had food in its belly, and it was flash frozen. So whatever happened, like, and that just kind of like triggered in my head. And I'm still trying to struggle back with the whole like you with your beans under your brisket because you said aluminum instead of aluminium, and I'm very disappointed in you. You've been here too long. You need to go see your family and get that aluminium back in your life.
The aluminum definitely has a few more different syllables than what US has, you know?
Yeah.
Read how it says in the periodic table at the end of the day is what I say, you know?
Right.
Aluminium.
Yeah, and then
we sometimes call tin foil. Isn't that what you guys call it out here? Tin foil?
The older people, yeah. Like to me, it's just like a aluminum pan or aluminum this. But do you know how many letters is in bottle?
It's in what?
In bottle, because
Bottle.
Yeah, you got the bottle of the water. You guys kill me. Do you ever watch the TikToker Josh from England? That guy kills me.
Who's that?
the TikToker. His name's like Josh from England or something. Josh from Britain. He's an English fellow that does TikTok videos. Comes to the States every once in a while, and like listen to him talk, and like he goes back home and then makes videos about the way that Americans perceive his accent and stuff, and it just blows my mind. Like I can't even understand him sometimes when he's like full on like Brit. It's too much. I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, my wife still, even after like 12 years, 11 years of being together, she still struggles to understand some of the stuff I'm saying. Like,
Is,
the
is
thing
your
is,
wife from here?
no, yeah, she's from the US, but not also do I have a British accent. I have the Welsh accent as well. So like Wales is like its own separate country in the UK or in Britain. And we generally have more of like a mumbly accent as well. So I
No
have to
Gerard
really
Butler.
concentrate. I have to really concentrate when I enunciate a lot of my things. You know, normally, especially after having a few of these,
Oh yeah, you
like
get really good.
my wife's like, "What the fuck are you
Yeah.
saying?"
Oh, we were in
But
Vegas.
no,
We ran into a Scottish guy. I think he was Scottish or Irish or Scottish. I can't remember, but he was hammered. His wife was like 25% sober, and I couldn't understand a thing. But all we cared about was drinking. We related over drinking. We couldn't
there you go.
understand either one of us talking to each other, but we had a phenomenal time. I wish I would have got some contact information for the guy because he was swell. It was a great time. Never knew what he said. I mean, we hung out for hours and never was able to communicate with each other.
That's what it's about, though, man. You know, it's the camaraderie behind it, and you're there for a good time. I think in the UK as well, we love just like going out for a beer, or going out for a drink, and just socializing with people maybe we haven't met before. Like we just like to talk, and like it's funny you have this like really cool little trade off together. Like I have it a lot when I go to the different bars in the US. Like people can obviously tell quite quickly that I'm not from this area, so it's like really cool them to maybe introduce some culture that I'm not aware of. They ask me questions about the UK, which is pretty dope as well. Are you going for the maple syrup one?
I'm trying to avoid it until last because I don't want to completely destroy my palate. Because honestly, when I drank it, like the first thing I thought of is like I need to go eat like mint chocolate to kind of counteract what was going on.
It's crazy there's 57.3% ABV. You can go and read a little bit more of them at 291coloradowhiskey.com. Live fast and drink responsibly is their slogan. But yeah, it's just no one's doing anything really with like aspen wood, you know?
No.
So, because it's so popular, aspens are everywhere in the mountains in Colorado, and the maple syrup barrels just give that a little bit more of a bump.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely need to get my hands on something, either that or something very similar to that. Something that it actually reminded me of, RD1 has a maple finished one, a maple barrel finished one. And I don't know if it's maple syrup or they use maple wood for the barrel, but it is incredible. It's like eating like breakfast pancakes with maple syrup. It is so nice.
So
it
rich,
is like $45. Amazing price point, great value. The proof point's not too much. It's like when you get finished with dinner, you sip on this and enjoy the breeze on the porch and swat the mosquitoes here because we have them like the size of small helicopters.
Yeah, you know, we're quite fortunate with the mosquito game in the over in Colorado. I think they don't particularly like the altitude as much. We still get them, like, you know, they tend to hang around the garden because you have like the sprinklers on and stuff like that. So
yeah, their altimeter don't work.
But they're out maybe like 2-3 months, and then they're kind of gone. Like, you know, they're out, they die off because Colorado has a tendency of like throwing like a snow day out randomly every now and again.
Oh yes,
like we'll have like we had last year we had snow in like June.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who the fuck has snow in June? Like it's supposed to be the summer. You know?
Do you know where Keensburg is?
In Colorado?
Yeah. It's like right outside of Greeley. Yeah. So I lived there for like 2 months, and it was like June 2nd, and I just walked outside and there were 6 inches of snow. I was like, I'm not doing this. I moved straight south. I moved to Texas.
Why on earth would you live in Keensburg of all places?
it was very inexpensive, and my profession kind of took me there for some
Yeah.
training. And the only way I could get that training is if I was a resident of Colorado, that my
Oh
company
yeah.
would pay for it. So I moved there on a temporary lease. So like I sublet a facility out so I could stay there, and it was the worst. Like the only place that you could shop was like this little Dollar General,
Oh
and
yeah. Sure.
basically I lived off of like ramen noodles and hot dogs for 2 months because that's all they had there. And I was busy
All right.
7 days a week. I had no free time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I used to live in Greeley for like 2, 3 years when I was in school. Did a little bit of school up in UNC there. I loved Greeley actually. I think Greeley was a really, really cool. I don't know how much time, if you ever spend much time going over to Greeley, like, but they have like a really nice downtown. I used to work in a bar there called Pat. Do you ever go down there at all? Do you ever hit up any bars in Greeley?
No, no, I
Uh,
literally had no free time. I was doing like 6 like hours in the morning. We had a 2 hour break, and then I would do like 8 hours in the afternoon. I was basically having like 16, 18 hour days training for 2 months straight. It was the worst experience of my life. You couldn't drink because there was no access to alcohol, and then you had to be like mentally sharp the entire time, and it was nasty. Like probably in the top 5 worst experiences of my life, next to like breaking bones. It was bad.
so I could remember, good memory in Colorado. But yeah, I used to work in a bar in Greeley, and I was wondering if you would ever gone to that because it's a pretty big whiskey bar there, man. But yeah, I think we got some good content in tonight, man. We got some good
Absolutely.
blind in. I think we cordially invited that as a draw, and then I
Yep.
look forward to doing the next one with you, man. I think that's for
Yeah,
sure, right?
maybe we can get Nathan on and do this in
Yeah,
a
Nate's
three
great.
way and see if we can all be drinking the same thing at the same time and see if one of us is better than the other.
Mate, that would be 12 pours. That's quite. That would be quite.
I
I
think we
think we
can.
can do it.
Yeah, we can do it. I wonder what his work schedule is. I mean, you and I are clearly both off on the next day, so let's hope he is.
Yeah, I think he works a little late at night, like because I think when we did our video, it had to be like 9 o'clock my time. So I think he works quite late. I'm basically 9 till 5. I have Tuesdays off, so which is nice. I do 4 10s, and I have work from home on Fridays, and I have Tuesdays off. So I have a pretty sweet schedule for the most part.
Yeah, I'm Thursday through Monday, and I work like 107,000 hours. Yeah,
Always on the clock.
I'm,
Well,
I'm,
you know,
lit- I'm on the clock literally from 7 a.m. on Thursday until Monday morning when I clock out. Like I'm on 24/7 for that whole period.
it's the American dream, my man.
American nightmare. We only work to pay taxes. Remember that.
There you go. Well, we got a decent, good life over here, so I'm not going to complain. I'm still, yeah, America's been very kind to me. And
Yeah, I'm
also,
glad you're here.
on the side, thank you for having me on the live stream as well, man.
Absolutely.
What's felt like half hour, was 3 hours in. But
Yeah, we were convinced this was going to be a 45-minute to an hour thing, and we're 8 minutes from hitting 3 hours. So we're really keeping our schedule tight here.
yeah, that's what when you have a lot of things in common, and whether that's good whiskey, family values, community, these sort of things, it's very easy to have good conversation, man. So thank you for having me on the channel.
Absolutely.
Look forward to doing a lot more blind live reviews, anything you want to, man.
Yeah.
Always welcome. Always welcome to do
Absolutely.
that. That's kind of what I mentioned on another live stream I was on lately, is that I'm not big into trying to doing live streams myself. I just want to like connect with people, man. I just want to enjoy. I don't want to be here sitting in front of a camera on my own, drinking whiskey on my own. I want to connect with different people. I could probably do that hosting myself if not, but I just love to just like kind of float around, So
Yeah, interacting with someone else on the screen really helps out, and then the flow of everything works good, and then our viewers enjoy it. And I want to say thank you to everybody that's still with us. We got 4 people on. I'm not sure if you guys were here the entire time. If not, I still appreciate everybody that watched. This is obviously my first live. Patrick, is this your second or third? I'm not sure how many you've done, but anyways,
yeah, I think I'm fourth. I think this one is just because of some of the other stuff. But yeah, maybe it's like third. I don't even know anymore. Who knows?
Yeah.
I've only done one live on my own, and that's when I did the 5K giveaway.
Oh, yes, yes, I remember that. Yeah, well, I do appreciate everybody sticking with us. I know this has been a long one. Maybe next time it'll be longer. Who knows? I mean, we might be completely falling out of our chairs next time. But everybody that stuck with us, really appreciate you guys so much for watching. Um, yeah, Patrick, you have anything to close, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, man, just thanks for having me. Like I said, looking forward to what future holds. If we can make it out to Kentucky this year, I would love to connect and maybe do a live stream in person. Something like that would be really cool, man. Or either
Yeah.
way, if you find yourself out in Colorado, please, the Whiskey Cove would love to have you down here, I guess is what I'm saying.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate you. And like I always close out, until next time, Bourbon Dude out.
Yes. Thanks
Cheers.
for that.